So I think we better roll dice in now.
So, the commander individuality has decided that our target is Sirius to the east, galactic east. And we've got an LIC to hit pretty quickly, so we're going to depend on the beryllium phase change radiators to get through that, and then we'll cylinderize something for the next LIC on the way to Sirius. That's the flight plan. And you notice that I added a little, which I hope convenient, marking on the way to Sirius called the Wisp Range Sirius, which means if we can get there, then we're within Wisp range.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I think I'll take the phase change radiators, and I'll actually put them on the purple playmat here.
All right. And now that's me. And we don't need the phase change radiators yet, do we? So I should do
that's
something
true.
else.
Yeah.
I should be doing something else.
So this precondition is not met, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I probably could have waited, I guess, to take this. It's a bit of a wasted move.
I was thinking of taking the nozzle, but that'd be kind of a wasted move too if we're going to be firing up the engines right away. And I assume we are, Commander?
Yes.
Well, life support, MHD.
Not the best cards for a start.
No, they're not. This border around these icons is really skinny. It's hard for me to tell what color they are. On the requirements, I mean.
That's more of a actually the original. I think the original design didn't have the border at all. It was just the icon.
Okay. Well, it's kind of important because, for instance,
no, I get it, because you otherwise won't know unless you're
right,
pretty seasoned player. So yeah, that's a good idea. I can make it thicker. These colors are also a little bit more dull than the ones we had before, so they're harder to see.
I think I'm going to take a stress and take.
Okay. Wait.
Okay, so let me review my options here. I could also join on this card, assuming that Phil is just going to roll a 1. I could actually go for the augmentation.
Oh, I'm going to ignite engine or not?
So this is not a bad idea, actually, to join in there.
The problem is the precondition on this card is the engine not ignited. And the commander says the engine's going to be ignited, so I don't think there's going to be a roll.
Yeah, this is one of the. I mean, the engine being ignited or not is a tricky precondition because the roll would technically happen before. I mean, the dice could be assigned there. Really, what this should say is dice not assigned to ignition. That's what it should say. So I'm going to change.
That would also be
Right.
the engine is considered ignited if dice is assigned to ignition and there's fuel. Both those things have to be true. So I think ignited is just shorthand for those two conditions.
Okay. So that means that neither of these are options really. I could do some library work, which might be helpful. I could do some ignition, which might be helpful, or I could just decant, I guess.
Yeah, probably decant.
Yeah.
And maybe remove some bad cards.
Let's see what else. So a wisp. Wisp is also a possibility.
It is a possibility. That's true.
Right. No, it wouldn't do much useful work, though. I mean,
No.
we could explore. Hey, the chits haven't been set up.
Yeah, we can just pull them out of the bag. Just save time.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a wisp wouldn't be bad because...
It would not help the mission,
Yeah.
but you would grab a medal. I don't know how
which would
good
be,
that medal is.
Which would probably disappear sooner or later.
Yes.
Because it's always the last to reveal Air Chit or Galaxy. So who cares, about Proxima Centauri? It's just
that's old news.
Yeah, such a bullshit star.
There is also a slight possibility you could reveal an air chit that has a magnifying glass on it, which I think right now we're calling that one victory point.
Wait, is this my die?
Yes.
I'm going to decant because I like it.
Okay. Interesting.
See what happens. That's my flop.
I go to ignite. And should you get the experience medal for being command?
I think so. I didn't create those medals yet because I wasn't sure if we were gonna. I have those in the rules as so they kind of changed a little bit. So the experience medallion is if you've won the prior game of High Frontier Module 4.
The Pentagons are only for the combined game. And maybe I should put that down there.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bring them into this game. Actually, if you look over at the medals, I didn't bring in the experience medals yet because they still need a little bit of work, but they're not going to be relevant in this game. So
okay.
And the playmat's a little confusing because it says start command, but that's actually an ability.
Are you telling me
not a
that
precondition?
Is an inexperienced commander that we gave this ship on this mission to?
Yeah.
And the question being the first mate has some advantages.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
The first mate have some advantages for the player?
No. The only advantage, it does have a significant advantage right now in this game in that there's 2 playmats.
Yeah, and they also start with a sideboard too, so I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
And the player order is still from the number 1?
Correct.
I'm going to do a wisp.
And what can I do?
Wouldn't be. You could charge the batteries.
Actually, Commander, that's seems reasonable. It's either that or librarian.
Yeah.
You know,
We could come back around and propose marriage as well.
Yes, I was thinking of that since we've got these rings, and I'll accept that, Commander.
Okay.
So just to be clear, because I realized I'm not fully clear on the marriage rules, but the ring represents a marriage between two dynasties, right?
Mhm.
Correct.
That actually represent the cyborgs themselves.
Yes.
Correct.
So how do
That
we
is a good point,
Like-
that marriage is between cyborgs, not dynasties.
Okay, so how do we know or keep track of the fact that it's this cyborg and not in case any of the other cyborgs get into play between those?
Yeah, I've always kind of considered it as between two dynasties, assuming that they have at least one cyborg. Because, but you know, with the caveat of if one of the cyborgs die, then the marriage is annulled, obviously. Because otherwise, you have to go into all these bookkeeping issues.
Yes.
But however,
he's
Phil wants to
asking, though,
clarify it.
if there's a marriage between two dynasties, and one dynasty's got two cyborgs awake, and one of those two cyborgs dies, is the marriage annulled or not?
Right?
I would say no, just for rules, just for rules ease. But I'm going to leave this up to you because you have the boulder on the rules right now. So, whatever you think is easiest way to explain it. But
I have solution. You can make marriage between cyborgs. You can add small ring token over first slot, so only cyborg in the first slot can be in marriage.
mhm.
You can swap the slots if you need it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's could work. Yeah.
Because you do want to keep track of the sex within marriage because of the possibility of heterogamy.
Hmm.
This is a good point,
Yeah.
and it's just more thematic.
Okay, so I think we're done with the assignment phase.
And I see small problem in the hexagon.
Mhm.
In the lowest line, it goes from both icons. I think it should be divided somewhere.
Yeah, both those icons share the same range of everything but freedom, so I put them on the same line.
So you have both of these advantages?
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess between honor all the way around to individuality, they both have unfit for duty and jettison. Is how that's supposed to be represented. That's why I think Phil having like on the side over here, having little dots for colors for each. I can do it actually. After this game, I can add those little dots just so you see what I mean.
Yeah.
That way, it makes it a little bit more clear and just a different way to read it. Without causing too much of a distraction.
It
Okay.
will help have the both icons next to each other.
Yeah, that might help too. That's a good idea.
That's not a bad idea.
It does create a little bit more clutter, I'd say, but we could try it.
I like that idea.
All right, so we're
Commander,
in.
are there any regulations?
So let's see. No.
All right. We'll go to cell rolls, but I don't think we got any.
Nope.
Then let's go to maintenance.
All right. So let's go ahead and fire the engines. Drop us down to 4.
I'll take a stress for my cyborg.
Same.
I thought I did.
No, yeah, there's one there. Oh, no, because you have one from creative stress. All right, so then we'll go ahead and place the wisp. Drop down another 2. And then we will recharge the batteries back to 6. No librarians or stadium. And so I'm going to move.
If you have 2 cyborgs awake, they share the same stress levels?
Correct?
Yeah, for engines on, you mean?
So if you have your second cyborg, you get it awake.
No, Dynasty has a stress.
Yeah, exactly.
Stress is dynasty-wide.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That's why it says impact +1 stress each awake dynasty instead of cyborg.
Augmentations and other stuff are also dynasty-wide.
Yeah.
So I'll go to Alpha Centauri here. I'm going to pull a yellow air chit.
How does that work thematically, that the stress is dynasty-wide rather than individual?
I guess this is a very sharing family.
All right, Goldilocks. Goldilocks if 2 goo. So I guess we could take that out of the equation for Sirius.
Yeah.
And I will take the Explorer medal. The Wisp medal.
Question.
Or purple will, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Supposing that had been, a living planet or something like that. We haven't moved the starship yet, but I guess we do have facing on this thing. So it'd be too late to try to alter our course for Alpha Centauri under these circumstances.
Well, I don't know. I mean, does it say in the beginning of does it say in the rules at the beginning of the game where you have to point the starship and you can't change it until after you move it? Because technically we haven't.
I think it does. I think that the commander starts with a facing, and
okay. Mm-hmm.
I should check that to see exactly how it's written. And I sort of think that's true too, because at this point it should be too late, I feel.
Yeah, how long does that wisp take?
It's going to take a while.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's like a couple of years, right?
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's 4 light years away.
So it would be 8 years, something like that. 4 years at least to get there, and 4 years to send back to 6. Huh.
Okay.
I mean, assuming that is how the wisp works.
Yes, that is how the wisp works. The wisp doesn't return, but it does send a radio signal back.
Right.
All right, so I moved the starship.
It's essentially planet within Goldilocks range, right? Or potentially.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that could be determined?
I didn't quite hear that question.
He might have pinged out. His ping is really high. So I aged both of our cyborgs, Phil.
Thank you.
We're on to the refresh phase. So return all workers. I think we just have the cyborg dice left to return.
I think we forgot to decant the cyborg.
Oh gosh, yeah, you're right. Crap.
It's supposed to lower the battery. Well, I guess.
Yeah. So, we had 2 charged, so we could have done that before we charged the battery. So maybe we should do that. It's hard to see because it's white. That's my mistake.
On our
so go ahead and roll that, Sam.
Okay. 6.
So 6 is green.
Quality gets just
So Phil has control of green right now. So I think he chooses which one to decant, and then he loses control of green.
Of green.
Yep.
It has to be assigned to
Yes.
either of us.
Damn it! I had good plans for this.
So the early decant is actually a good strategy for you and Peter who don't have cyborgs, because if you either get one or one of us gets one on our coalition dynasty, and then it has to go to you anyways.
Yeah.
So why is this over here?
Oh, I'm sorry. I placed it wrong.
Okay.
So I guess I'll give this to. I think I'm gonna give it to player yellow.
Okay.
So unless I have something that I can get some augmentations for, I think I will do this again next turn.
All right. So So sorry, I forgot about that decant there. So so in that case, green should have a stress for the engines on. Actually, no, that engine happened before that, so they won't get a stress for that. And they would start with the dice on age 1, but then it would come off during aging. So now we're back to refresh. So return all workers. No arch enemies. -1 stress per married couple. So Phil, you can remove 1 from yourself.
Thank you.
And refresh market. And with a individuality commander, polygamy is allowed. So we could, player green could propose marriage to player gray during the next dozier. Okay, so what are the new cards we got here? Boson physics and reverse engineering. All right. So if we go to speed 2 here, we will enter the LIC. So the phase change radiators on player purple here will be relevant.
Irrelevant.
So I think with my cyborg, anyways, we also have 2 pink cards, and if we fail a roll here, we'll get some augmentations as well. So we could potentially slenderize the engine if it all works out okay.
So, Commander, are you playing on the phase change?
No, I'm considering my options here.
If you're not Commander, wife, why not?
Well, because it's a cyborg, and it might be better to get a card because we're doing the machine learning, so only the avatars gain augmentations from failure.
Good point.
So I think it might be more useful for me to gain a card. I'm just looking to see what. And if we want to try and slenderize something else later in the game, it might be useful to slenderize the jars if we want to do the sunland. Well, actually, I guess that's probably not worth it. Slenderizing the wardens would give us the dust bug spy. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
I could go for a warden card.
Those warden cards are full of nuggets.
Yeah. Need to really start librarian some of these away.
Yeah, I lost control of my librarian, and he was ordered to maintenance last turn.
And is wise to go pregnancy now or not?
To do what?
To have a babies?
Yeah, I was considering that. My cyborg is married, so if I waited another year, I would still have a okay chance because you get a reroll. Plus, we have an Amazon on player green as well, so I think we might be okay. I might be able to get one more turn.
And there's also crash to make it automatically successful.
Yeah.
How do I read this card exactly? Because it has these two effects depending on O and X, right?
Yes.
So when do you determine this?
Well, the requirement says 2 nuggets.
All
we
right.
don't have the 2 nuggets required to be able to determine the outcome of this experiment.
Right. And if the 2 nuggets would say O and X,
that's a bad.
Then that's an indeterminate, but we would flip the Star Child multiverse 2001 shit.
All right.
All right. So I'm wondering if maybe maybe I should just librarian something away with my cyborg, which seems strange, but it makes sense to play an avatar on the
Don't
space change radiators.
I don't actually have that rule in place though.
To be able to librarian a cyborg
with cyborg.
Okay.
That's not installed.
All right.
It would be logical to make it possible, right?
Well, actually, this is not a bad one.
I was considering that myself.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I'll take that.
Nice. So, can you just give up these technologies, like eject them or something?
You can.
If they're installed on your playmat?
Oh, that's nice. Okay, I'll go for that. Well, you never know. It might not even become an augmentation.
We kind of need it.
Yep, I know. Trying to fail this roll. Peter?
And can you roll here? If you have... It will happen.
Yes, because we will enter. We will enter this year because we're going to go to speed 2. So this is another one of those things where it's like the precondition is sort of like happening next phase in the sequence, or even 2 phases from the actual cell roll. But you know, the way it's worded, it says will enter. I guess you could just say if, you know, as long as there's a dice assigned to the engine cell and we have enough battery and all that kind of stuff, then we know the ship is going to move 2 spaces and we'll be in that.
So we know that what is needed is at least 1 assignment to the engine and probably a couple to this.
Yeah.
Of avatars, so that we
Yeah,
will have.
and there probably needs to be in the rules, and even if you don't want to write the whole thing now, Phil, maybe have a placeholder in the rules for when we describe the cards and what the preconditions are, like have a little note in there that basically talks about this situation where sometimes the precondition will talk about things that are happening in the future, and as long as everything is in place for that thing to actually happen, then you can satisfy the precondition.
This also leads to some turn order play where people could be assigning here, and then the person in charge of actually assigning to the engine says, "Hey, no way."
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is true. That in that case, then you wouldn't roll this. But if as long as that something is assigned to the engine there, then it should be okay.
I think I would rather say on the phase change within 4 spaces of LIC rather than will enter.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
Right. Yeah. Then you could roll for it, but it might not do anything. Right.
It might not do anything, but you can still roll for it.
Yep. Okay.
Or maybe if you cannot do it, you can reassign to be librarian or something.
So I changed the card. I changed the card to say Exodus within 4 spaces of an LIC. I think that clarifies it enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you shouldn't reassign it if it's a useless assignment. Then somebody has just screwed you over and you live with it.
So someone's got to go to the engines. I think it makes sense for green to go to the engines, honestly, because they're not going to be able to get an augmentation anyways if it fails.
Yellow, where did you go?
To the orphans.
Yeah, orphan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So green should probably propose marriage.
Also go to the engine.
Yes.
Yeah, and gray will accept. So I guess that means if we're going with that idea of the ring on the play mat, then this would have to move over here, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then it would come all the way around again, back to green, and then green would go to the engines.
Explain to me how that works again.
How what works?
You move the
yeah, so Peter had a suggestion that for to determine which cyborg is actually married, have in this slot like a little ring icon or something that says that if you have a ring here on the hexagon, it's this cyborg that's married. Now that does shut down the possibility of having a cyborg in this slot married to player red and a cyborg in this slot married to player purple, but
there's other problems too because that slot could go away.
Yeah. So I mean, we could leave it here, and if you want to figure some other way of doing it, but
yeah, you do want to know who is married to whom ultimately.
I still kind of lean towards having it be a dynastic marriage with the assumption of you have to have a cyborg in play.
That's possible.
It just makes it a lot easier with the rules, I guess.
Well, you have to find a way to address this heterogamy thing.
Yeah, the heterogamy is a problem, but as long you can say that as long as there's a possibility of a man-woman marriage, not violated. But if there's no longer a possibility of it, then I would say it is.
Mm-hmm.
Another question about this, actually. It's a bit tangential, maybe, but I wonder why monogamy is in unity and not in honor. To me, it seems like it could make sense to swap these two around.
I sort of like heterogamy. It wasn't my suggestion; it was Matthew's suggestion. But I sort of like it in unity because unity is more or less the religious conservative bloc.
All right. I thought honor was kind of the cultural conservative.
It could be. It certainly could be. But I thought honor was more of the patriotic.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
Or we can have a second set of rings to put on the cyborg who is married.
Yes.
Yeah, but that still creates a problem if you have two cyborgs and they're each married to someone on the opposite side of you. Like which ring is for which? Not that would happen very often, but that is a consideration.
I think
Yeah.
it can be only one for each dynasty, so only one from is allowed to have married. Even in this polygamy situation.
All right. I'll consider the options, but I'm sort of thinking because the augmentations and stress and other things are dynasty wide, it's possible the marriages are going to have to be two.
Yep.
Okay, so green's going to go to the engines, right?
And if I will not go to the engines, what will happen here?
Well, then there will be
these won't roll.
Right, and we might have eroding. Oh no, we will not have eroding blueprints because we won't reach the LIC. So that's good. So everything slows down. We don't have augmentations, and we don't have the options of slenderizing.
Okay, I go to engines.
All right. Okay. No regulations. So we'll go on to cell roll. So let's go ahead and roll for
the phase change.
Yep.
We want to see this beryllium in action. Oh, look at that!
Hey, look at that.
We have one.
See it. Not my idea.
Right. So that's good.
My plan.
So now we'll roll.
So I'm bonus for succeeding, right?
Yeah. So I'll roll for nihilism here. Oops. Oh wow. Okay. I think I'm rolling the dice for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and remove this orphan chit.
Okay. And only
you need to assign
only cyborgs get stress for rolling 6.
Sorry?
So Avatar does not get stress for rolling 6, right?
Right now, there's no stress for avatars.
Yeah. Oh, because of the 6 down here. Yeah. No, they don't gain stress.
So right now, all it says is that they can gain an augmentation. It doesn't say anything about stress, so that defaults.
Okay, and then
I wanted to talk to you just a second, Justin. Nihilism says Amazon, but you can just as easily have a meathead as an Amazon. I forget why it specifies Amazon only. I sort of think it should say cyborg instead of Amazon.
I think that's how it was originally. I think you added Amazon, but I can remove it.
If you could change it to cyborg,
Sure.
I prefer it that way.
Yep. All right. Okay, so now we move on to maintenance. So we will fire the engines.
No, we are more cells. We're all.
Sorry?
And this
we have another cell to roll, he says.
Oh, really?
This is rolling or doing nothing?
No, because there's no pregnant. There's no one assigned to a pregnancy cell.
So that's for this nothing.
Yeah, so he just got that card.
Okay.
We'll go up here. All Amazons gain, or all Wake Cyborgs gain stress. Wake Dynasties, rather. We go down. No librarians. No wisps. Move 2 spaces. So we hit the LIC, but we don't get eroded, and there's no new nuggets. Attrition and aging, so all awake cyborgs get aged.
I'm going to try to age mine.
Return all workers. No arch enemies. A -1 stress for married couples. So for a polygamy now, is it considered one marriage and between all 3 of us we only lose 1 stress?
It says for a couple, not for the marriage.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Because I feel like I've asked this before, and that's why we added the word couple.
Yeah, I think so. We've got 2 couples. I think each couple can remove 1.
Okay. So I think in this case, then it might make the most sense for Phil to remove a stress from our marriage, and then me to remove a stress from Green and Gray's marriage. So then we all have 1.
Okay.
Everybody agree? All right.
How do
Yes,
you
honey.
make that? How do you make that deal between Gray and Green?
How did I what?
So how do you decide this actually? Who gets to remove?
So between me and Phil, we would decide who removes the stress, and then between me and Peter, we would decide who removes the stress.
Right. What if you do disagree?
If we disagree, I believe the rule is the marriage is annulled.
Right.
Or divorced. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not possible under what is it? Under monogamy?
Yeah. So I think in that case, what would happen is, like if he's, if we're each dead set on removing stress from a different cyborg, then we would just disagree, and no one would remove stress, but we would not be divorced.
Okay, makes sense.
I mean, really, yeah. To me, honestly, like however the players want to deal with that, probably okay. The big thing is that the divorce wouldn't happen.
There's a bit of a weird word here, because you could become if command now would shift to me, we would be under monogamy law, but you would already be in polygamy, right? Or
yes.
You would. And so, in fact, the monogamous law would normally say, no, you have to divorce. I think one of these. This is just a bit weird.
All right, I didn't quite follow that. If monogamy becomes the law, then yes, polygamy is outlawed and has to be dissolved right away.
So no divorce allowed could not be the definition of monogamy. Or monogamy is not really the right word.
Well, the rules say all the marriage types except polygamy are you're only allowed to be married once. Wait, is that the question or no? I missed it.
Yeah, maybe another word needs to be found for monogamy.
Okay.
I think it can be added to the polygamy if you shifting for a polygamy. What happens to this marriage?
You could just easily add here polygamy dissolved or something like that. if polygamy, dissolved or something like
Polygamy,
that. Yeah.
polygamy is
Yeah,
dissolved,
but it
not
happens.
just monogamy, but every other marriage
Yes.
will
Yeah.
dissolve to polygamy.
So I think it's better write it to polygamy only.
Okay.
All right. So interestingly, we have no augmentations yet.
We went see, right? I missed the effect of that, but nothing happened.
To the LIC? Yeah, nothing happened because of the B phase change radiators didn't. Normally, what would happen is you would erode a blueprint, it would create a nugget, but it did neither of those things because of the phase change radiators.
Right.
So, Commander, we've got to get skinny, and what is the plan for that?
Well, the plan was originally to fail the roll on this a couple times, but we haven't done that yet. So we only have 2 pink supports. So actually, we have 2 pink cards and 2 jade colored cards. So we could. I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to get pregnant.
You know, Commander, I hate to mention this, but in this scenario, the ML scenario, the more people we have on board the ship, the fewer avatars we'll have. I don't think we're going to end up with any augmentations on this voyage.
Yeah, maybe. But we've also been rolling really well, too, so maybe we're not going to need them as much.
Maybe not. I sense impending disaster because of this ML avatar thing. But we'll see. Is it my turn to assign?
Yeah, yes, it is.
So what kind of card do I need to get? A pink one?
I don't know. There's not really anything great out there. It'd be nice to get a pink or a jade colored card.
I can't.
So we could try and slenderize.
I can't even keep any card that I get because I'm full. So I'm going to donate it to an opponent if I take one, but I'll do that if that's the best shot. Or I think I'll take a pink card and I'll give this to player yellow.
You can give it to some.
Second thing you're giving to player yellow.
Yeah.
Or you can give it to some puppet dynasty.
That's another possibility.
I could give it to a puppet dynasty. That's true. That's green or what's the other one? Gray?
So green, or it's authority or equality.
No, I'll go ahead and give it to Unity. That's it for me.
Okay. So the honor bot is going to assist this upcoming childcare issue. Must be honorable. Must raise children.
All right.
Should we speed up or no?
I think so. But I was. Yeah, with the machine learning variant, it's almost like the cyborgs make more sense to go into the maintenance cells. In this case, there hasn't really been that great of cards out there, so it's the cyborgs haven't been particularly useful. Otherwise,
yeah, that's a point.
It'd be nice to get another. I mean, really, it'd be nice to get another. Yeah, if we played all. Well, we're gonna have to charge the batteries here pretty soon too, actually. So if I place Purple's avatar on this Jade card over here, the Crash, and all three of those fail, all three of those dynasties will get a Jade augmentation, and then we would be able to, on the next Dozier, slenderize life support, which is great.
Yeah.
Green could go to engines right now, but it would drop the battery down to 2. So
next turn we need
would
to
have
work
to.
on that.
I'm sorry?
Next turn, right? We need to work on that, on the battery.
Well,
Yeah.
but next turn the engine won't be firing, so it won't work. We'd have to go to this diamondoid tether or something.
Yeah, so the diamondoid tether is out, which is good. It does require an MHD. But we could, we could fire the engines. We would have to figure out how to get fuel later on, but...
I mean, its engine is -2, right? So next turn the battery would still be at 2.
Yeah, but it can't get any lower than 1, so we wouldn't be able to fire the engines
Unless somebody goes to the battery.
Yeah, which we could do.
So
we could do that, but it would bring us to speed 4.
For speed, it's logical to go to the battery, to the engine first, and then recharge, rather than the other way around, right?
Yes, but on the next Dozier, we would have to charge the battery first.
Sure. Yeah.
Otherwise, we couldn't fire the engine.
But I think empty the battery before you. There is some speed in that battery still.
Well, actually, the other thing is if we fail. So there's another component to this. So if I were to assign purple to the Crash and green to the engines, if we were to fail all 3 rolls on the avatars, we could slenderize. Oh, it is life support. Never mind. I'm thinking slenderize the engine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea. So I think I'm gonna go to the batteries here if green wants to go to the engines.
Yes.
No.
That's probably the best solution.
Oh, right. So do this already in advance of next turn. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So the augmentations counts for the maintenance cell number?
Yes. Yeah, so they've been renamed. So like augmentations, goo augmentations, and work cells are all lumped under the word supports.
So the order of these actions is determined by the commander, right?
Yes, other than engines go first.
Oh, engines always go first.
Yes.
Oh, I get it. That's what I missed.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. Okay, so
To do that now. Yeah.
All right. So cell rolls. Let's go ahead and roll for the Crash.
Bill rolls for the Crash.
Sorry, I was writing.
Yeah, freedom has all these kids running around. You need to sort them out.
So I will.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, we get augmentation.
Okay.
Biology augmentations. Nope, that's goo.
Yeah.
These ones. Okay. So I will roll for pregnancy.
Yep.
Six. Oh man, I get stressed for that. So I get a reroll because of marriage, but because it's a polygamy, do I get 2 rerolls?
No, that's only for I think the polycule.
All right. No.
Yeah, the idea is he's in 2 marriages, or she is. So there is something to be said for that, actually. But
Especially since I failed my.
It would also explain why there are 2 rerolls standard for the polycule.
Yeah, I don't get that either. It should just be no rerolls.
All right. So what's the proposal?
So the right now it's assumed that you get a reroll if you're married because of the extra partner, right?
Yes.
So right now in polygamy, I have two partners, so I should get 2 rerolls. And with that said, it doesn't really make sense for polycule to get 2 rerolls. I mean, I see game wise why maybe you did it, but it might be actually best to just have no rerolls at all for polycule because there's no marriage. You're just raising the child on your own, sort of thing.
Now, I didn't make this rule, but undoubtedly the idea was that if you're annulling all marriages, this is a very down thing, and you wanted to have some perk for it. And I don't know if that's important or necessary or what.
I think it's okay to get rid of that because I mean you always have the ability to use the crash card as well, so it's not like it's impossible. I don't know. I think it makes sense for polygamy to have, if you're in a polygamous marriage, you get a reroll for each marriage partner, and for polycule, it's just all marriages are annulled and there's no rerolls allowed because you can always use something like the crash to buff it, and also just
only if the crash is available.
Well, true, but it's just another consideration of an equality commander is that there's no rerolls for Amazons, and you're just gonna have to get pregnant right away when it's easy.
Yes.
I think it makes sense.
All right. Well,
if we want to change it, we could.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, do you want to try and play it now, or do you want to leave it the way it is right now? Because if we play it now, we get another reroll on the pregnancy. Otherwise, it fails.
Okay, you can make another reroll.
Yeah, I think we play it now. I think this does make sense, and we'll probably fail the roll anyways. Oh, okay, never mind. We did get it. But I just think the last thing I want to say about this is I just think that if you get a reroll for having a partner, it does make sense to be able to get 2 rerolls if you're in a polygamy. That's the main reason for this rule change. And then the polycule is just like the polycule rule change is just a implication of that change. Okay, so it has to be.
Tell the truth, I don't like 2 rerolls in general. I'd like to limit.
Yeah, but polygamy is not something that happens very often, anyways. Not only is it 1 out of 6 legal marriages, but you also have to have 3 awake cyborgs that are all adjacent to each other. So it's not something that happens every game, and that can be super abused. So I think it's okay.
Okay.
So the child that I could choose any dynasty now, right? Or are we still going with I has to be someone that's asleep? Because I thought we had the mother has the right to choose, but I know we've made a lot of changes when it comes to waking up cyborgs that are asleep and stuff.
I think the mother does have the right to choose. I'm not sure if the rules say that she has to choose an asleep dynasty if available.
Yeah. Now there is some interesting things here. So if I chose purple, I lose control of purple and it'll go to white.
Yep.
If I choose yellow, yellow will lose control of green,
and it will go to white.
and green will go to white. If I choose white, then I think everything stays the same. So I think I'm going to choose white. And I like the idea of having the goo whisperer out anyways. She's pretty awesome. So I'll let you decide which slot you want to put her in.
Okay. So this is the Amazon, and she will always be up, right? Until she dies, essentially. No
Yes.
going.
Yeah.
No hibernation for her.
Right.
And I'm choosing her because I'm hoping she'll still be alive by the time I get to Sirius in case we need to use her for goo fights.
You've chosen somebody with an arch enemy, but there were no other.
Yeah, but I think it was inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the important thing is it's an arch enemy it's arch enemies that don't affect my stress.
Yeah.
So
the other thing is we're also really getting. I mean, there will be less and less augmentation, so that's interesting.
Yeah, Phil pointed that out, and that is interesting, and I don't know how I feel about that because it makes everything a little bit harder.
I have full of this tension, I have to say, and it's maybe the roles have to change a little or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we could have it be, cyborgs and avatars gain augmentations. I think at the very least, if we were to do this, maybe the foamed metal maintenance cells shouldn't be 5 or more supports. Maybe it should be dropped back down to 4.
Okay, another one. Another question. If you would choose to awaken the second red cyborg, would that be possible at all? Like you could just take out engine and life support?
Yeah, so that they would get to choose. They would get to choose either to discard these 2 cards, or they could hibernate this.
All right.
This cyborg.
There's always that possibility.
Yeah.
But if there will
now,
be,
if this was an Amazon.
If there will be Amazon, you only card.
Yeah, if this was an Amazon, you'd probably have to discard the cards here, or maybe give them away.
Under what conditions do the hibernated cyborgs go back again? Come alive again? Awaken?
For decant.
It's just decant, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's some cards too.
Take an age
there's
1.
like this one here, like
But if you go to the VATS at age 4.
It is on the other side.
Yeah, it's on the other side. The resurrect.
Resurrect, right?
Because decant is like an age 1, and resurrect is bringing back one that's been hibernated. So.
Yep.
And I think that one's of your choice. This one's random. Decant's random, whereas resurrect is not.
Okay. So I'm ready to get some marriage action here too.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're moving on to maintenance. So we can fire the engines. All awake cyborgs all awake dynasties gain stress, but white does not because they're still age 0. I'll give one to Phil. And then we will recharge the batteries. No librarians. So we can move 3 spaces. Almost within list range. No attrition yet, but everyone ages.
When is the marriage proposal thing?
Not until the assignment phase.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. Okay, everybody age.
Right, this should be there.
And refresh.
Right.
Oops.
I have an arch enemy, so I get 1 stress, right? And so does
Yes, green and white get a stress, so I'll give 1 to green here.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, so
I'm so young. I've just barely shown up, and I'm already so stressed out by.
So Peter, you can remove 1 stress for that marriage, and then Phil's not here, but I'm gonna take 1 from me because I have 3 and he has 2.
Back.
Okay. So between you and I, Phil, we have to remove 1 stress for marriage. So I think I'll take it since I have 3 and you have 2. That's okay.
Yes, honey.
Okay. All right. And then that's it for refresh, except for the market. Okay. All right, so we're back into the assignment phase.
One thing I was thinking, Justin, that would be catastrophic for the humans is that if there was a transhuman uprising or something like that, if we're playing ML variant.
Like an automatic one?
No. I'm saying with the rules we have right now, because we're playing ML, if there is a transhuman uprising, they steal all the avatars, which means the humans won't have any way to gain augmentations.
In a machine learning variant, you mean?
Right. In the ML variant, if there's a transhuman revolution, the humans are screwed without a real way to gain augmentations.
Because all the avatars essentially become human, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking a little bit while you were gone about the situation of, having only, 2 avatars left to be able to gain augmentations. And I was saying that there may need to be some adjustments for this to work. And obviously this isn't going to happen every game. We got kind of lucky in some of the roles, but because there's been plenty of games where, avatars existed for quite a long time and were not very useful other than just doing maintenance and librarians. You could say just all failures in general, regardless of the dice, gain augmentations. Or at the very least, I was thinking if we, in the machine learning variant, the foamed metal goes from 5 back down to 4 could be a little bit more useful as well. Because outside of, victory points are one thing, but really what augmentations help with are, better luck in rolls, which is also really good, and probably most importantly, slenderizing blueprints. If you can't slenderize anything and you do the entire mission with all fat blueprints, it gets very difficult because you run out of fuel very quickly and things like that. So
the other thing is that there aren't going to be goo outbreaks. It doesn't seem like. If the cyborgs are going to maintenance or something, and avatars can't cause goo outbreaks, it doesn't seem. It seems as though we're not going to see any goo.
well, you could. I mean, you could force. Like in the last game we played as well, we had to kind of force goo outbreaks a little bit because we know we needed domesticated goo. So we were assigning cyborgs to work cells and keeping stress high on certain cyborgs just to cause a goo outbreak. And the same thing could be said here. I mean, if we don't have a lot of stress right now, but we do have 3 cyborgs that could potentially have goo outbreaks on this dozier if we roll ones, which also happens to be a success. So it changes things. It changes things pretty interestingly. That where you place dice and how you kind of maneuver your strategy does change quite a bit. And so far, it's a little interesting. It'd be nice if we could tune it in such a way that it's it works. It still works really well, but it's still so different that it changes the game and how you play a little bit. That's like the definition of a really good variant, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, we can kind of just keep playing it out and see if there's ways to tune it a little bit better.
Commander, I don't know what to do with my cyborg. Is there maintenance we need to do?
So we're not within Wisp range yet. We will be after this turn. We have 5 supports in Jade. So if one of us gets, so if I pick up a Jade card right now, then you could go to foamed metal on the life support. That would be useful. The problem is I'd have to take this card, the Pleasure Gardens, because these other ones I can't get. So I think I'm going to do that actually, because it also opens up possibility for stress. And actually, I think I'm going to maybe.
And I will probably try to get remove transfer you by this guy.
I think I'm going to go there.
So you need more of those cards?
Of the Jade cards?
Yeah.
No. So we have 5. We have 5 supports now. So if you could assign into the foamed metal on the life support, and that'll slenderize it. Because we have 2 augmentations and 3 cards.
Mm. Who took the nozzle?
The nozzle?
You did.
I did?
This one?
Yeah.
The Reaver nozzle telescope?
I think I want to play there. I guess. Hmm.
And is the Wisp range counting just at the work cells or during the movement? Because we are not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet, and there's no radio domes out either. So,
Oh, yeah, that's no good then. An MHD, that's the yellow, this requirement? I have trouble.
Brown. It's brown.
Okay, and so nobody's got that.
Correct. I think Peter was talking about taking this card, and if he does, that'll put a radio dome out there. So you could still play there, Phil, on the Reaper nozzle.
Also looking at this, yeah.
Well, I guess I'll try to take it.
Where are you going to put it?
Well, this thing, I'll bump this motherhood thing out.
But we cannot make a foam metal right now because of it.
Yeah, then we won't be able to make foamed metal.
I'll give it to someone else. Who wants it?
Oh, okay.
Not a possibility.
It is possible?
I think the rules state that you can, if it's bumped, you can move it to another dynasty.
Do they have to agree? I mean, not that I have a reason not to take it, because it's not doing anything bad.
Well, I don't think it matters if you agree or not. Well, I guess it does, because
it does.
I mean, if you have a slot, then you could always just discard it on your turn. But if you don't have an open slot and he tries to give it to you, I don't think he can give it to you if you don't have an open slot. I don't think he can force you to discard something to take it, sort of thing.
I could discard it. So for me, this is. I mean, this is not the most interesting card for me to have around. Really.
Hey, player honor.
I'm kind of looking at what.
Sam.
Yeah. So this is okay. So, Phil, I mean, you entrepreneur hunk.
Yeah.
Would you like to have some goo whispered into your ears at night?
That's a lot more romantic than what Justin said. Sure.
Right?
That should be a condition of a proposal. Is you have to say something very clever, otherwise it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Okay.
Okay. Let's see.
I think that moves the pulse on to player yellow.
I think I have a die to assign. So.
Yeah, it'll come around to you again.
Wait, how does that work?
We keep going round robin. You only get one pulse during your turn.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, I will. Beer.
All right. So nobody's going to go to the foamed metal yet.
Because we've got such a wimpy commander.
Well, I guess I'll go there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Go. I think it does think not so much. I go for pregnancy. Oh, the white.
Ah, all these pregnancies.
Yeah. Maybe you should go to your own motherhood cell. I don't know if that's useful or not, but
Yeah, but we'll just build up more and more stress, right?
yeah.
So I want to get some other colors out there. So I'm going to go. I mean, I could not even take this card, right? Because the prerequisite is for taking it, I think.
You cannot take that card unless you give it to someone who has there's no augmentations or domestic goo, so someone of the MHD, someone of the brown card, I guess, could take it.
Right. So let's see. So how far are we with all these? Okay. So this is becoming an option.
So conceivably, you could give it to player red, and player red would bump one of his cards, well, his pink card. He'd
Okay, I've decided
somewhere else.
to take this card into my tableau.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's all.
Regulations. All right, cell rules. So, interesting. I think I want to have him roll this one first. So let's roll for transposition.
Yep. 2, which
Nope.
is success.
So that's a fail. I will roll for Pleasure Gardens. Fail, but goo.
Oh.
So Jade goo there. Phil, you can roll for New Sphere.
Where's that?
Taking the stress.
It's on your.
It's on mine.
Goo breakout is when you roll strictly lower than stress level, right?
Yes, with the cyborg.
Yep.
Well, it looks like Unity is now commander. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, because they don't have a commander, or they don't have a cyborg. I think this is one of the old, one of the ones that had the sentient icons where you had to have a avatar or a cyborg to place
I
it.
think so too.
Yes.
That is absolutely right. Hmm.
Or the machine avatars can be commanders in this variant.
Hmm. I guess it should say you choose a new commander.
Yeah. I could see that. In which case he could choose player green, which he controls.
Who's in command? Whoever's in command is going to be an awful lot of unhappy, broken marriages.
I mean, he could choose me as the commander, and right?
Yes.
Unless the card says you choose a new commander, or you must choose a new commander.
Did I miss anything? Oh. All right.
So probably must, right, Phil? You must choose a new commander.
Yeah. You must choose a new commander, if possible, I guess.
Oh, it's me. So I choose honor.
Well, yeah. So the precondition just could be 2 awake cyborgs, or 2 awake dynasties, rather. So that way.
Sorry, guys, I missed what happened. So, what is going on right now?
All right. So what happened was that there were people trying to start a cult on board the Starship, and they succeeded. Unity succeeded, and so Unity gets to choose a new commander as a cult leader. Now, and
you become the commander.
Yeah, now Unity can't choose themselves because they don't have any awake eligible candidates.
Yeah, so we're changing the card to you must choose a new commander. So instead of you become the commander, you choose a new commander.
Okay, I get it. Right.
Yeah, with the condition of having at least 2 awake dynasties on board, which we'd have. So basically, Peter gets to choose who becomes the new commander. And then the outgoing commander loses all stress, which is good for me because I have 5 or 4.
Yeah, I choose honor.
Honor, okay.
Okay.
And I hope you will not forget this in some dire situation.
I'm very happy with this. I'm honored. Honor is honored.
And so, I guess that the new commander chooses which marriage is broken.
Is that so? I mean, I think it's obvious that it should be this one.
Yeah, that makes the most sense for the ship, anyways.
And also, yeah. I mean, I could break this marriage and then break that marriage. That would probably be the other choice, right? Or break my own marriage, which I would prefer not to. So, I mean, I'm not going to be an asshole about this, of course, but that would be the option, right?
Yeah. This would be best for green as well because green and white are still arch enemies. So.
Yep.
Okay, so then I lose all my stress.
And the 2 question for the transposition card. You always gain 1 stress, have any failure?
I think the original intent of the impacts is if you succeed.
Okay.
And because a lot of them say like battery -1 or.
I got rid of the gain 1 stress on this. I thought that was gone.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's crossed out, but I didn't see that before I did the card merge. So yeah, that should be removed.
And the second one, I think it should say that work cells you swap comes with you swap the avatars and the cyborgs on the cells, probably.
We can say swap one of your work cells, parentheses, including tokens, with that of an opponent. That way, stuff like goo and workers go along.
Sure, and it's clear that tokens include workers as well. Is that a glossary? I'll
That's
look.
it's not a glossary term, but I have been using tokens and other card descriptions, and maybe glossary.
Okay.
Maybe the tokens should go into the glossary.
Yeah, I'll put a placeholder there in case you want to add it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so now we move on to the pregnancy roll here. And I guess it's good that you didn't annul that marriage, because if you fail that, you can roll again.
Okay.
Look at that.
Nice.
All right. All right, so if you, this creates an interesting question for if he chooses yellow or purple. Now that everybody has an awake cyborg, this brings in the coalition dynasty control question.
Yes.
Um,
So you just give it to the guy who gets it.
I choose it.
Nice. So you could hibernate your meathead, Phil.
Yes, I will hibernate my meathead.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Still a good move, though. Because his wisdom only really helped himself anyway, so it's good that you got rid of it. Okay. So we'll move on to maintenance. So we still have 5 supports for Jade, right?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
You get to place your shield.
Okay.
Or
Purple, anyway.
he does.
Which will be great for the LIC here. No librarians. No wisps.
Because what happens with shields, it helps against the LIC.
Yes.
Right.
It also collects nuggets, or at least accumulates nuggets, not collects them.
Yeah.
And then to actually get the nuggets, you need to rush to the maintenance cell.
Yep.
Yes, or there's some cards that would happen first, which is nice. Okay, so it's going to move the Starship 3 spaces.
Within wisp range, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Attrition and aging, so I don't think we have any attrition rolls, but everybody ages. And White, I think White ages to age 2, right? And Phil, you just become age 1.
Right. Yeah, this is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Return all workers.
I have a brand new idea for the ML variant, but I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay. All right, so +1 for arch enemy. So green and white both gain a stress.
Super annoying.
-1 stress for sleep dynasties, which is nobody. And then -1 for marriage. So, Peter, you can take one from ours.
Phil, you okay if I choose one?
I'm okay if you take it.
Yep.
All right. And then we will refresh the market. So 3 new cards here.
Interesting.
Okay, we have a seed ship capability now.
Oh. Which I guess is an option at Sirius. But we should see what Sirius has got.
All right, so coming into the new dossier here, we have we'll go through the LIC this year, which will erode the blueprint, create a nugget. It'll move us 3 spaces. We will then be just out of range of a wisp, or I'm sorry, I guess we'll be within range of a wisp, but yeah, out of range of the dust bugs. So, are we getting close to being able to slenderize anything else? I think pink is our next contender. We have 3 pink cards, no pink augmentations. So, is there anything useful to go on pink with an so
the do we even
so
have
the phase change? Yeah, we have 2 avatars still. So the phase change radiators would be good because then we wouldn't have to erode the blueprint or erode the shield, and we could potentially gain some augmentations. The Reber nozzle telescope is also useful this turn.
Oh yeah.
Because we have the radio signal.
Yes.
And we're also within wisp range, so that's probably the most useful thing. So we should probably maybe assign 2 avatars there if we can.
And for the goo. And we have the goo.
Yeah, and then we also have the goo. So I guess I would have needed to decide if we're going to domesticate or not, right?
Yes.
That's a commander decision.
It's tricky because we don't know if we're going to need domesticated goo or not. It'd be nice if Goo Whisperer was.
Yeah.
Because if we lose life support.
Her goo finds the goo cannot spread, and she gets some -1, but that's only later. That's not now.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking we maybe
commander.
Yeah, I kind of think we maybe domesticate on this turn, and if we fail the domestication, we go to kill.
So
kill alert.
Technically, again, this is yeah.
Yeah, so if we choose domesticate, anyone who assigns to the goo has to roll a 1 in order to succeed in the domestication. Otherwise, it spreads. Now, if it spreads, it could destroy cards, and it could also destroy. Let's see. I have the best chance of dying actually. If I rolled a 5 or a 2. This card would be destroyed along with my cyborg. And then let's see, what do you have down here? If I rolled a 1 in the spread, this card would be destroyed and your cyborg would die. So it is risky to domesticate instead of kill because you have half the chance of succeeding. But we also don't know if we're going to need domesticated goo or not. So I don't know.
Right. So it also depends on.
We will have a wisp this turn. So I mean, we could kill, and we could do the kill option, and then if the wisp reveals that we do need domesticated goo. And we kill it, we're gonna have to have another outbreak somewhere.
This is a This is where a good commander would shine.
Well, I like taking risks,
wife.
so I'm going to say we're going to domesticate. I'm going to say we're going to try for domestication on this dozier. If it fails and spreads, we're going to go for kill next year, unless we need domesticated goo, and then we're going to keep it domesticated. So that's the plan.
Well, there's going to be more outbreaks, right? Sooner or later.
Maybe. I mean, we only have you guys only have 2 stress, so you'd have to roll a 1 somewhere on a sideboard. So it's possible.
I'm going for kill.
You know. All right, so let's start with the assignments here. So let's see. I have no stress on me. So I would say probably white. And, well, actually, augmentations don't work on goo fights, which I always forget.
Yep.
Maybe they should.
That's why I went for kill.
Right.
Actually, no. I think we had a good reason why. Yeah, we have a good reason why they shouldn't, because they would just eat that goo anyways, right?
Yeah.
Commander, you could go you could fight the goo, or alternatively, you can send a wisp. Commander.
Yeah, I don't mind sending the wisp, but if we're gonna assign 2, yeah, I think someone should probably assign to the maintenance cell wisp. So I think I'm going to do that because if we fail the Reber nozzle, we're kind of screwed. We need to know what the air chit looks like.
What did Freedom do?
Goo fight.
Goo fight. So there's just one thing before I make my decision. I'm curious about this card. This game second avatar die. That would be helpful, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
That would be helpful. It would reduce stress, for instance, possibly. It would gain us augmentations. It's quite useful. It's just that right now it's kind of a critical turn here. That goo could wreak widespread destruction.
Right. So what else is, because
including the card you're thinking of taking.
I know. But I did set myself up to take this card this turn by taking this yellow card last turn, because I thought it would be very good. It would be very good to have it as soon as possible.
It's not a terrible idea. Nevertheless, I advise you to join the goo fight.
3 people in total there. 3 people in total.
Yeah, I would recommend the goo fight because the 2 avatars should go to the Reber nozzle. I think.
Yeah.
Phil, I see a minor mistake on the map. The wisp range to Sirius. This is it should actually be on this space right here.
All right.
It doesn't affect our game here because we were here on the last turn, but it should be moved back 1 because that's 9 spaces.
I'm joining the goo fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ideally, yellow and purple will go to the Reber, but Peter can decide what he wants to do. Because if we fail the Reber nozzle, that means we can slenderize the engine on the next dozier, which is pretty good.
The commander can order this.
Oh yeah, it's honor. Yeah, so I'm not even the one making these decisions. I forgot. The blame is off me now.
What can I order exactly?
You can order assignments.
Wait. This is actually.
So if someone assigns, so he can only assign to a maintenance or goo actually.
To a maintenance or goo cell. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Peter went down here.
If you if you were to enforce a regulation, you could reassign anybody not in maintenance or goo to go to maintenance or goo. For instance, this assignment up here to the phase change.
And
So I went to the phase change, or he went to the phase change. I went to the Reaver nozzle. It's fine because if we fail both of them, we'll still get the augmentations anyway.
Okay.
And are you doing this assignment now or during the regulations?
Regulations, I guess.
If you're going to do any reassigning, it happens during a regulation phase.
Yes. Yeah, my turn. God, I wanted.
You will go to fight the goo, Peter. You might as well just place the die there right away.
Yeah, I recommend that as well.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not only recommending it, I'm just commanding it, so there is no choice anyway. So
Voluntold. All right, so I think that's all. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Yep. So regulations.
Do you want to, Commander Honor? Do you want any regulations, Sam?
So that's we're talking about this reassignment, which I think is not necessary.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I think honestly, I think what we have going on here is probably the best situation or best scenario.
Just one thing, I could have done. I realize now that I could have done something. Think about this. If suppose I had actually taken this card into my tableau, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would look like this.
Yes.
And then I go reassigning myself to the goo fight.
You could. This is possible.
It is possible, right?
Yes.
It's just odd. But
yeah, that's a good combo, actually.
This is what I want. I mean, I realize now that this is what I could do, so this is what I would like to do. So I'll put this here. No, not there. Here. There we go. So,
okay.
So that would be the regulation. There are other regulations, right? Unfit for duty, but I don't think it makes sense to do that. Also, is there any assignment?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible for more goo to outbreak, anyways, because all the cyborgs are on the goo already. So if they were on other cards, then it could be possible.
Speedheads were all very fit for duty. I don't know. Are there any left? Oh, I think Phil. No,
everyone's been assigned, I believe.
Right.
All right. So what do you want to roll first?
Okay. Well, let's just go and roll the goo first.
All right. I'll do that.
Okay.
Negative. So green and red both get a stress.
What?
Oh, I forgot about my wisdom during the last phase. I can remove 2 stress from anywhere. Do you guys mind if I mulligan that? And yeah, let's go ahead and take one from green and red each.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But I think you were not old enough to do it at the time.
Well, no, because I aged during phase 6, but then I can at the end of phase 6 I can remove.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll remove one from green.
I'm gonna roll for the spread of the goo, if that's okay.
You're terrible at rolling, Phil.
1.
Oh, okay. That's actually a good roll because it doesn't affect me. Unfortunately, that affects this card down here. Okay. But there's no cyborg there, so this card gets discarded.
What was it?
The creche.
I see. The nursery is full of goo.
Yeah, how surprising! Like,
yeah, And this goo
So that
goes.
goes to the blueprint now. Nope, this one.
Yeah, goo is from vomiting children's.
Phil, I wanted to. We can talk about this later, but is it possible, or does it make sense to maybe swap the jars and the life support placards in the configuration? I know we had it that way, I think, at one point, but you wanted to change it around. Wouldn't it make sense if the jars are so crucial to the game because they hold all the babies? Why would we want them to be the second blueprint from erosion? Wouldn't we want them further back?
This was always kind of arbitrary. It could be further back.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's just arbitrary, I recommend you do swap them because that makes a lot of sense to me. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I couldn't remember if there was a reason why we had it the other way around.
There's no reason that I remember other than
okay.
Life support
and actually
seems more important than jars if you got to have someone awake to do the steering.
Yeah, but just based on the abilities and on the cells of each, the jars is more important in my opinion. I think actually what I'm thinking of is radiator to be on the life support blueprint, but we moved it to the jars. So I'm going to make the recommendation that for the next game, we adjust the configuration for the jars to be behind life support, because
it does
that
have
seems
the
to make the most sense.
If it does have the radiators, it's better to have it as far back as possible, close to the engine. Does it have the radiators? I forgot.
Yeah, the jars have the radiators. That's what these are right here.
All right. I can do it.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. We'll leave it for right now, though. But for next game and for the module, I'll make the change. It also saves me a little bit of time because I adjust these colors because orange and brown were a little too close to each other and jade and blue are a little too close to each other. But if I swap those, it'll be a little easier to distinguish the colors. Okay, so now we roll for what, Commander?
Okay, what's left to roll? Let's see. So that's this one and this one. Doesn't matter. Okay,
Yep.
let's go in red. You
roll for the Reaver nozzle.
The Reaver nozzle.
So Phil, you can roll your Reaver nozzle.
Right.
And also, Sam, you did get a radio dome when you got that Jade card.
Oh, right.
The Neogen avatar. It's a fail.
So
Phil gets an exotic, or I'm sorry, purple gets an exotic augmentation, which is good. So we, yep. So now we can roll. We'll roll for the
Are we there?
exchange.
All right.
Also a fail. And if I rolled a 2, it would have been a success. I'm sorry, yellow. This is yellow's avatar. So yellow gets a exotic augmentation. So now we have the 5 required pink stuff to be able to flip the engines next.
Yep.
Those year. Okay, so I think that's all the cell rolls. So now we can move on to maintenance, which will be placing the wisp dice out there and draining the battery by 1.
And do you make a maintenance or do you fight a goo?
Actually, this is a good question. So Phil, if the goo moved to the maintenance cell, do we still launch the wisp? I don't remember. I think so, right? Because it's sort of like it could sort of be said that the goo is still in the process of moving to the blueprint. I kind of think that everything should be able to execute. And it should be shut down because now any new assignments to this cell have to go to the goo, right? During the next dozy year. But I would think that the dice that are currently assigned there could probably still execute.
I sort of think that it should be able to, but on the other
Because
hand, it's a
thematically,
question about how easy is it to write the rules for this.
Well, thematically speaking, it's still like we're still in the same year where it was over here and still in the process of spreading.
Yeah, I know.
The rule is you just can't assign a dice to a maintenance cell with goo already on it.
All right, this is actually possible if you assign to a blueprint or work cell with goo. You've got to assign to the goo.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing is actually disabled at all. It's just you can only assign to goo. I think that's okay.
Or you can make rule that goo is moving not now, but during
Yeah, I
some
know
later
I can do
phase.
that.
Yeah,
That's,
during phase 7.
I hate to spread out these things. It's better. I mean, it's better from a lot of ways, but it also kind of slows the game down. I like to avoid it if necessary. I like, hey, we're working with goo now. Let's get all that stuff done.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we will move the wisp to Sirius. And pull a yellow.
All right.
And great. We need 2 domesticated goo.
What?
That sucks. Okay. We need that goo whisperer to get old. Maybe we should start slowing the ship down just so we have more time. We'll see what happens here. All right, so
Sort of
the starship
recommend. I sort of recommend staying at full speed and going on to Procyon and send someone down on a pod and see if they live or something.
Yeah.
Do we have a
That's
pod?
true. We do have a pod card up right now. It's this eddy break.
Cool.
The problem
so I moved the
is
starship.
that anyone we send on the pod, this is almost a certain death. But my feeling is that we should go on to Procyon or conceivably Kide. I'm not.
All right, so we went through the LIC. It erodes the blueprint. Commander, if you want to grab one of the nuggets and place it on the bow of these 3 nuggets here.
I kind of like the idea of slowing down and having.
You want to seriously stop at Sirius?
Then who gets the medal for the eroding shield?
It is true that at Sirius we have 2 possibilities for troglodytes. We don't know what those water chits are. They could be habitable. Either one. In fact, I think there's a greater than 50% chance. So it's not a terrible idea to stop at Sirius. It's just that if there's nothing there, we'll be cooling our heels trying to domesticate the goo for a landing.
Yep. But being the goo whisperer, right?
Yeah.
Purple gets the Guardian medallion for having the first to have a shield eroded. Commander, choose a nugget to place on the bow.
Okay.
Without looking at it.
Yes, without looking at it. Okay.
Not that one.
And All right, so now we're on to attrition. So we have to make some rolls here. Fortunately, I got rid of all my stress, so I'll roll for my for Nanche here, and she just can't roll a 6. And she's good. I think I might be the only one. Yeah.
So
Everyone else ages.
All right.
So green and white age.
Mescanet is now 30.
Oh. Pachamama counts as one domesticated goo during terraforming. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
there you go. So
So we need to domesticate this goo at all costs.
right, that's a possibility.
Um,
That's a possibility, but let's see. Let's see. Because what happens if the goo is not stopped? Then we lose this
it
life.
eats, and we lose all those cards as well.
Yeah,
All the green cards will go away. Also, the slot will disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slot gets busted.
Your leftmost slot will go away.
Yeah,
that would kill, for instance, the midwife.
We'll stick.
Just the beginning.
We'll stick with the kill order. We'll stick with the kill order. We'll try and slow down. We'll try to see if we can find another domesticated goo, which will have some repercussions for other decisions.
So yeah, and if we slow down, we also give the goo whisperer a chance to age, because goo can't spread, and she gets a -1 to her domestication rolls, which is really good. So I think that's a good idea.
We go to refresh, I guess.
So we're
yes.
really seriously shooting to kill this thing?
Yep. Because the maximum chance of domesticating it is 5 in 6 to the power of 6 if everybody is there.
Yeah, you're right. This
6 to the power of 6, and it's I think it's on the order of probably 2 and 3 or something, which is not great.
Yeah, I cannot argue with that logic.
All right, so green and white both gain a stress due to arch enemies, but I'm assuming that they'll probably lose it due to marriage, unless Phil objects. I don't.
That's fine with me.
Okay, and then I can also relieve 2 stress from anywhere. But and actually, so hang on a second. Let's give the stress for a moment. Do we want to keep stress on one of these playmats in order to help goo outbreak? That's the real question. So we probably do want to do that. So let's resolve this in actual order here. So we gave the stress for arch enemies. So now we'll say between Phil and actually let me bring the question to the commander. Which playmat would you recommend we keep stress on? I'm assuming you're probably going to say green, but maybe we shouldn't keep it. Well, honestly, we probably don't want it on green or white because we kind of need both of those cyborgs to domesticate, right? So it might be best to keep the stress on Phil.
What?
I'm not sure because I do.
In which case, for the marriage stress, we could lose 1 on each for green and white, and then I can also drop green and white down again. So it's not possible for you guys to.
Justin, we're going to kill this goo, not domesticate it.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, we want to keep stress up.
We're going to kill the goo, yes, but we need to have some other goo that we don't kill. That's what he's saying.
So we will kill this goo. Next, we need another outbreak. That's correct, right? Well, there will be better chances if we have 2 people with 3 stress on board. So
but you won't have 3 stress. Okay, but what I'm saying now is, do you want to remove a stress from each of these now, or leave it at
No,
3.
Phil, you can take one away. And I think we will leave them for now. And then the idea is going to be, we will try to kill the goo this turn with, I want at least 4 people there. Then maybe I go and assign myself here. It could lead to another goo outbreak, I guess.
But at least it's
so here's the problem though with Pachamama on green here. If she has 3 stress, she's gonna have she only survives on a roll of 1. So I think we should probably get rid of all of her stress, honestly, because we need to keep her alive. Whereas on white over here, you're only age 3. You're not even up for attrition yet. So I think, relieve 1 there for marriage. I can spend my psychologist to relieve these other 2.
Yeah,
that protects her a little bit more from attrition.
And then I will go and futz around and try to create more goo. But here is another thing, right? Suppose I think any green assignments or any jade assignments are not possible at the moment, right? Or are they?
Correct. So you can only go to, I think you can only go to the life support on jade.
Yeah. But what I could be doing is just futz around somewhere, see if there is another goo outbreak that I could trigger.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the plan, I think, for this turn. So I'm going to keep.
It might not be bad to go here to the Reaver nozzle, because getting the Earth data could be useful if we get something good.
Yeah, totally. So Phil, if you want, you can take out 1 stress disk.
All right, I take out 1 stress disk.
I go to the toilet for a moment.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll also be back in a minute.
It might be best for him to go to the new sphere. Well, he's already commander though.
Is commander there? Is he going to do any regulations?
He went to the restroom real quick. And we're actually at the assignment phase.
Oh. We're at the assignment phase, and we should put this up to here. And player Justin, you may want to assign.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go to the goo.
I guess I will
think you'll probably... Yeah. Now he's going to probably want to go somewhere else, because he probably wants to outbreak something, and I'm assuming he's going to go to a pink card. Although I guess he could go to the wardens as well, which might be better. Because if that outbreaks and destroys the warden blueprint, it's not as massive as the engine.
Okay, so we have 2 assignments there.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to recommend you go to...
Neither of us were selfish enough to go to the wardens. Especially since
Sam, I think Sam, if you want to try and outbreak something, I would recommend going to transposition on your playmat, because even if that does outbreak, at least if it destroys the wardens, it's not a huge deal. Whereas if you play to an engine cell or an engine card, it could destroy the engine. So
right. You can also look at, I mean, I want to kind of funny. I want to kind of roll a 1 or a 2, right? Or
Yes.
ideally, it depends. We could also be looking at this in terms of what are the positive effects that are. Okay, my age is 3 right now, which is a bit. Huh.
So Phil, just to confirm, he cannot. No one can assign to any Jade work cells, right? Because there's goo in the Jade blueprint.
I'm of two minds about this. I sort of think with a rule saying if goo is present, you can't assign to the cell. I think they can assign to Jade cards otherwhere. Of course, there's a risk because if the goo kills that, all the green cards go away. But I think you can assign to green cards. It's just that
I tend to agree as well. I think if goo is in the blueprint, you just can't assign to a maintenance cell.
However,
it might be too difficult. It might be too difficult to say you can't assign to any actual Jade card, and those cards would be resolved first anyway. So
yeah, the general rule would be if goo is present on a card or blueprint, you can't assign to the cell there. You can only assign to the goo.
So here's one,
and it's sort of the same. It's sort of the same when goo is on a card on a work cell. You can't assign to the card. You have to assign to the goo.
Right. So if goo is
that makes sense
on a
so then
work cell or blueprint.
Yeah.
There's a
so then, Sam, you should be able to assign like here, for example, if you wanted to.
Yeah. So
you would succeed on a 1 or a 2. Sorry, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. Suppose I do that. The goo is already there, right? So there wouldn't be goo appearing there. Or do we have multiple goo tokens?
There's no chance of this being a goo outbreak because it's already broken out.
Right. And I want to trigger.
Now it's possible. So in the past, we've played where if goo was on a work cell, meaning a card, and let's say goo was still on the card up in the gray playmat, and you played here and you caused a goo outbreak here, it would move from the gray playmat to the white playmat, but it cannot move from a blueprint to a work cell.
Okay, so I think I know what I want to do. I want to try. I would like to have 4 people here. I would like to have somebody at the engine so that we can reduce the speed. And I will myself try to do this. Maybe we can get extra dice.
So also, I mean, this is an option. It's not really necessary right now, but it might be useful. We could slenderize the engine blueprint this dozier as well, because we have all the conditions for that. So if we were to slenderize the blueprint, firing the engines would only count as 1 battery. But we are kind of running out of.
Well, we really need to start slowing down, right?
Yeah. So maybe what you should do is you should assign your white dice to here, on your playmat. The 2 avatars could assign to. Or one more dice can assign to the goo, and then the other 2 remaining dice can assign to the engine. 1 on metal.
Exactly. That would be my proposal indeed. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
It's not a proposal.
Right, so then,
you've got assigning priority. You can order them.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen until the regulation phase. So people can go where they want, but But since that's still the case, I don't know if Peter's back, but you could probably assign his dice to him. Okay. So what we have left here is 3 dice. We want 1 more dice to go to the goo fight, and then the remaining 2 dice to go to the engine cell. 1 to slenderize and 1 to ignite.
So I'll say that I'd be more comfortable with 4 dice against the goo, because basically, if the goo is not killed, it's practically game over, I guess, right?
Yeah. We don't have to slenderize the engine, of course. We could forego that and just have an extra dice on the goo. That's fine.
I think that's better because even with 4 dice, the goo has about 20% chance of destroying the mission.
So I'm going to be generic and I go to Wardens.
I was just thinking someone's going to collect that.
Well,
funny.
I mean, we'll see if the regulations will allow this.
That's true. Okay, so purple's going to go. I don't think it matters. Actually, purple can still gain augmentation, so I'm going to go here to the goo.
Oh, good one, yeah.
Where should I go?
To the engine. You go to the engine.
Yeah, you got to go to the engine.
Well, yeah, this is good.
Well, he doesn't have to because he could just during regulations. So it's important. It's actually nice because he can go where he wants, and then during regulation, he can. This is a one way for Peter to cause a mutiny, right? So even though even if he wanted to go to the engines, he could literally go anywhere, knowing that Sam will say, "No, I want you to go to the engines," and then he can against that if that's what his goal was.
Yeah,
so that's an interesting mechanic. So during regulations now, Sam, did you want to move this dice?
Yeah, under the condition that I will have your back in case Peter triggers a mutiny.
Sure. Yeah, I'd vote for you.
Yes.
So you too.
So I protest.
Okay. So that means we do an election.
You're back as well. Is Phil there?
What's that?
Yes, I'm sorry. What's the question?
Do I have your back in case Peter triggers a mutiny if I
Yeah, I don't want that selfish bastard taking my nugget.
Exactly.
So he did protest. So
all right. Well, we got to have a vote, and we'll begin with player green.
So hang on. Let's put all of our let's add up all of our votes and change our dice here.
And does my avatar moves before elections?
No,
or?
It stays there. I think because if you win, basically if he loses the commandership, then your dice stays there. If he wins the commandership, then I'm sorry. If he loses, then you get to if he loses, then it stays there. If he wins, then he gets to move.
Okay, so you have one vote. Phil has
one vote.
Just one vote?
Yeah, there's not a lot of augmentations out there right now. How many do you have, White?
I have 2 votes.
Purple has 4.
Purple's winning.
Yellow has 3. Yellow has 3. And green has 1. All right, so starting with green, green gets to vote first.
I choose green.
Votes for green, okay. Yellow.
Green.
Okay, I vote for myself.
All right, and then white will take it with 6.
Yeah.
So that'll be, yep, so you can reassign the dice. And then Peter will get a stress for that too, by the way.
Yeah.
For protesting.
Valuable time.
And do I get stress for my yellow, right?
Also, this has nothing to do with unity.
Yeah.
Okay, so
someone said the penalty for protest should be keel haul in a starship.
All right, so I think we only had one work cell roll, which is the Neogen avatar over here.
Right. Let's see what happens.
Well, technically, the goo fight is a work cell too.
Okay, nothing happens.
Oh, no. Yep, unfortunately. All right. So now we have to roll for the goo. So let's bring all these off here. Oops.
Oh, the life support's gone. The goo took it.
All right, so let's let the commander roll.
Oh dear.
Keep Phil away from those dice.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Well,
we got it because purple has an augmentation. Oh, I'm sorry, augmentations don't count. So but this is a success here.
Well, it's a kill, so one's on the.
So I get a medal at least.
Wait.
Yep.
It's a kill, right? So
Yes.
Yes, because you rolled a 1. A 1 or a 2 is a kill. So yeah, then
who does it do?
Actually, so I didn't kill it. We have to go. The commander chooses who. But I think I deserve this kill, Commander.
I think my 4 votes deserve that medal.
No,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I don't have anything yet, and I've been fighting the goose since the beginning. I think I deserve it. I'm trying to save lives here.
2, 3. Well,
No,
Well, what's interesting though is he could give it to purple and then try and gain the control of the purple playmat somehow later,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's really interesting. But I mean, purple is basically now winning, right?
No, you owe me
Yeah.
favor to having to
Yes,
bar you.
purple is walking away with the game as a puppet.
Right.
Because so theoretically, if player gray becomes the commander, wouldn't I lose control of purple? So that's like, I think that's right now the only way I could lose control of purple, right? Is if I become the commander.
See, I should have joined this goof fight. Clearly.
And this brings in an interesting mechanic, Phil. Maybe some other way of losing or gaining control of a playmat, because this is interesting. I kind of like the idea of a player being able to decide for something like this to go to a puppet or a coalition dynasty, and then being able to strategize later to try and take that dynasty's control and use it. But I think right now the only way I can lose, pretty much everyone is awake except for yellow, I guess. The only way for me to lose control of this is if I commander. I think it's the way it's written right now. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there should be a way. I don't know what you guys think.
I mean, if for some reason if for some reason someone was decanted, purple was decanted, and that brought out a new cyborg in the player purple, then you'd have to give it up.
Mm-hmm. It would have to go to yellow, I think, but then yellow, and then yellow would lose control of green. So yeah, it creates some interesting questions that we still need to figure out.
That's true.
Because eventually it's going to have to go or stay somewhere where it would normally break that rule. That's the problem, right?
Yes.
So that's what needs to be figured out, I think. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe the rules for how it gets control, how the control chips move around need to change slightly just to make it a little bit more clear or easier to understand or whatever. I mean, I like that it moves when, like if you have control of 2 cyborgs and no one else has, makes sense, but it does become a problem later on. We're getting close to that issue right now.
It's very possible it should freeze if everyone's got a.
Yeah, and I think so. I think for that, how you lose control of it should freeze, but there should be another way of losing control or gaining control, which is what I'm kind of getting at here. And maybe it's just that I lose or I gain commandship, but I think maybe it could be something else. I'm just not sure what it should be. I just wanted to mention it, that this would be an opportune time for player white to consider that strategy if that was available to him.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I think there's just one weird thing about it, because it's a potentially very interesting game element, which is an artifact of the fact that 4 and 5 are not divisors of 6. So it only happens in the 4 or in the 5-player game. and that is a little odd. So
yeah, but I mean, it's necessary though, because it makes sense. This was a discussion that Phil and I had very early on in design. That it does make sense to have all 6 dynasties in every single game. Otherwise, it just becomes completely imbalanced based on number of players.
There is an option. I don't know if it's a good option. I thought about it and rejected it, but there is an option to, for instance, in a 2 or 3 player game, say, okay, you've only have one playmat and the others are coalitions.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing is just if it becomes a very important game element, then why only have it in the 4 or the 5 player game? That's just the one thing I'm thinking about. So
yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, the other option. This would be a huge change, but it is possibility. Is that you could completely change this game into a 5 player game only, and that way it forces. There's always going to be a coalition dynasty.
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily like that because I really wanted this game to be 6 players, but that is an option. Or maybe it could be a variant or alternate variant or something like that. I don't know, but
it's just.
I mean, I think it could even be up to the players. Like, hey, we have this many players. Let's figure out how we want to divide these dynasties. Do we want to have, each of us control 2 playmats, or do we want to have 3 coalitions? Or I think it could be something that just is decided upon by the players. I mean, how they're going to run their.
For now, I think to award the goo to Phil. Phil gets the Phil.
Okay, thank you very much. I vote for you again.
So you take the champion medal.
All right. Where is this?
This one right here. This one right here, and you get your second. You get your second avatar as well.
Aha. Okay.
Okay, and then last but not least, we will. So I'll go down a step here, and are we slowing down? Speeding up. I think we're slowing down, right? Do you want to slow down 1 step or 2?
This is a good question.
Peter decides, right?
That's the commander.
I mean, Peter is
the commander that.
At the main.
No, it's the commander that decides.
Oh, okay.
Damn, that's you.
So we're wait. Where are we?
Sorry, we were here. This was our situation.
Oh, okay, good.
So we could be based on the max delta V. We could slow down 2 steps.
Okay, if that happens,
it would take us 5 turns to get to Sirius,
which is far too much. So we will only slow down 1.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. Everyone awake gains a stress.
I think like sometime maybe next turn I will start needing your psychological counseling if you're still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to be alive. We'll see. That's what I was thinking. Hopefully, we can get some Earth data going. If we can get the one that Amazons don't gain stress for aging.
What is helpful? There's no goo on board.
Yes. Okay, so we need to keep Pachamama alive for sure. All right, so let's move the starship 2 spaces. All right, so we roll for attrition now. So I'll roll for Nanche, who has a 50% chance of death. So she survives on a 1, 2, or 3. And she dies.
Oh no! Oh, that's terrible.
Zero for my
Yeah.
Pachamama is dead.
Commander, do I need to get pregnant?
Now that's very unfortunate.
Everybody's dying.
Really unfortunate.
Yes, commander is failing.
No, you guys are dying.
Because
Everybody else ate.
nobody is helping us.
Okay. Interesting.
Did Sam and Phil age?
Yeah.
No, I haven't aged.
Yeah. So at least we don't have. Okay, I have no arch enemy anymore. So that's good.
Yeah, no arch enemy. Our marriage is dissolved, so put the matrimonial ring back. Between you and Phil, you could still dress if you wanted to.
I wonder what
marriage.
is the smart thing to do right now.
I'm gonna go get some water and go to the bathroom.
So we need at least 2 turns, and in 2 turns, find 2 domesticated goo.
Yes.
That's kind of a tall order, right?
That's a tall order.
I mean, it's not impossible though. It's sort of ridiculous.
Yes. And sleeping dynasties minus stress.
Yeah. Individuality also loses stress.
Yes.
Yeah, I should lose something. Oh no, you said individuality. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Ah, interesting.
So the market's all refreshed. I guess we can go on to another turn.
Yeah, well, I'm still deciding what we should do with this marriage, because I think the goo strategy might not be there.
So we can fly to another star.
Yeah, looks like that is going to be what we want, huh?
It's conceivable, Procyon's got a lot of possibilities on it, but Sirius still has not inconsiderable possibilities in its water chits.
Right.
There could be a troglodyte moon on that gas world or a carbon world on that white dwarf. Both of those are about a 1/3 chance, I think.
Okay, that's kind of good enough, because we could do the combination of a 2-pronged approach where we might actually activate the goo after all, and do some wisps to figure out. So we will have 2 shots at Sirius. Let's go with that. I like that.
Yeah. If we fail and we're stuck in orbit around Sirius, we'll just have to stay in orbit until we get to either we're eaten by goo or we eat the goo.
Yeah, it's a weird decision. So it's either Sirius or, well, accelerating to Procyon is Procyon. What do you say?
Procyon.
Yeah, Procyon is going to. Okay, what are the chances of habitable planets there?
Well, it's got a yellow sun, so that's pretty good. since we've already checked Alpha Centauri and Sirius, and those were kind of bad, that increases the chance of a good yellow sun at Procyon. Procyon also has two more water chits which have troglodytes on them, and there's a red giant. I mean, there's a red dwarf over here, which is a super Earth. The super Earth has one drop of water, so that's kind of a decent chance of there too. So this is fairly rich pickings. But if somehow that should fail, then the mission fails because we're exiting the map, basically.
Right. And going there, we want to go back up to 3 speed, which stresses us out once again.
Yeah, that's going to be hard because if we go up to 3, now we're really going to be very low on fuel. That'll mean ice breaking and others. The best thing to do would be a flyby on that gas giant.
Which is also pretty terrifying.
Which is better, but it's terrifying. Those risks are so high unless we've got a pilot. If we've got a pilot, it's worth it. But without a pilot, I don't think it's worth it.
Right. And a pilot, is it in the market somewhere?
It's not a market. This is a wisdom on, I think, individuality, or is it honor?
Right, it's in individuality. Right, Omi Gold. Omi Gold the pilot. Plus 2 risk rolls. Okay, so we're either looking at a very risky maneuver in Procyon or a 2-pronged approach at Sirius.
That's it.
I think Sirius is at least possible. It's ridiculous, but it's possible.
Couldn't we do a seed ship at Sirius as well and just hope for a troglodyte?
Yeah,
we could.
Yeah.
But I think the seed ship will require the engines to be on, and that would mean you're speeding up to go on to Procyon, which is possible. But
that's what I was thinking. If we were going to go on to Procyon,
you go on the Procyon, you speed up. Now you're at speed 3 with only 1 step of braking. So we're going to need that pilot out, or else it's going to kill everyone.
Yeah, we will. We can slenderize the engine this dozier if we want to.
That's helpful, but not extremely helpful.
So we can also, there's an LIC towards Procyon. We can let it erode the wardens down, and that would get us to 7 mass.
Yeah. But if we're up to speed 3, then you'll still have a speed 1 by that point. So we'll still need to do a flyby or something. Commander, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes right now.
So I'm looking at this braid pod within 4 spaces of a star system with ignited engine. This could be done this turn and next turn. And in both cases, we if it all fails, we would end up. This is interesting. So how does that work? You move with 1 or 2 cyborg volunteers, and you just hope that there is this troglodyte there, right?
Correct.
So the chances of those cyborgs dying on a terrible planet,
is about 1/3, I'm guessing.
Right, but also it could be a very nice medal for those who are willing to try.
Even if they die, they still get the medal.
Right.
I think their chance of death is actually 2/3. Their chance of survival is 1/3.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing I want to mention is so we're at speed 2 right now. So the next dossier will be at the sun lens for Procyon. So if we're able to skinny the jars, we could do a sun lens peep of Procyon to see if it's even worth it to go there, or if we need to go around to Kide.
But the problem is, if we fire off a pod right now, if we fire it off, which is possible, we've got to decide whether or not we're speeding up or slowing down. The engines are going to be on, and we'll need to know if we're firing right now. We'll need to know if we're bypassing Sirius or stopping at Sirius.
Okay, here is what I think what we want to do. We want to speed up, but do the ridiculous break thing anyway with whoever wants to try it. And if that fails, we will still have another chance at Procyon.
All right.
So hang on. If we how bad is it if we don't speed up? Because if we don't speed up, we can actually do the sun lens potentially.
This turn have to, right? Oh, yeah. No, I want to break. I want to use that break thing.
But couldn't we also just do like this turn, for example? We could not speed up, land on the sun lens to try and get that, and then we can ignite the engines on the next dossier. We could still get this card.
Yeah.
So we could do both.
Nice.
All right. And because the sun lens...
and we use this card here to skinny the jars, which several of us have the requirements for to take that.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, it's a pretty high value card.
Okay. Well, one thing is clear, Phil. I would like to use the marriage to get rid of one stress.
Okay.
You agree?
I agree.
Okay, cool.
Did you guys lose my stress for an asleep dynasty, or is it?
Nope, we didn't yet. So we were wondering if you had done that already.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's my proposal: is that we wait a turn because we can peep the sun lens, but it's up to the commander. So.
Yeah, it's also up to anybody to, of course, to assign something to the engine at all.
If we did assign to the engine, we would. I guess we wouldn't have. Well, yeah, because it's still fat. I mean, we'd probably want to skinny the engine before we fire it, because otherwise we're going to waste 2 battery, and then we'd have to assign to the battery. Whereas if we skinny the battery first, we can fire the engine and still be okay, and fire, and then wait until next time to charge the battery. That is with the assumption that no one's going to do anything else, like do a wisp or a decant or anything like that. So I mean, there's a lot of options here on this round.
In terms of mechanics, what does the sun lens exactly do?
So if we were able to skinny the jars, the sun lens snapshot says reveal 1 water chit indicated by a sun lens within 10 spaces of Exodus. Right. So we would be able to see what the water chits look like, or 1 water chit looks like in any of these at Procyon. I mean,
but the chances are pretty good. I'm for speeding up.
You hear the commander.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess you assign first, individuality. We need a few dice back. I guess we need the honor dice back at least.
Where is it?
Where did that go?
Oh, over here. It's right here.
All right.
So some lens shows which can be shown here. You can only Procyon.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
And where is this Lakyle?
That one, Lakyle.
It looks like some mistake, maybe.
No, it's way over here. 9352. It's on. I don't know how to point.
All right, I'm gonna go here.
But do you see it, the red dwarf that's just to the right of the cosmic nuggets? Do you see that? Lakio 9352.
Yes, but it probably should say run here, not the Lakai.
Well, it's pointing at Lakai. This is the focal point for a telescope. It's
Okay.
Bill, you want
I
to
have a
go
question.
one of
Yeah.
yours on
I have a
engine?
question before I fully commit to where the move I just did here. So honors pawn regulation says the commander may order a reassignment to a maintenance or goose cell. That means they can take from another maintenance cell and place into a new maintenance cell as well, right? Not just from a work cell to a
the way
maintenance cell.
it's written, the way it is. I would agree.
So they can take from basically anywhere and assign to any maintenance cell.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll stick with where I went.
Yeah.
So player red.
Bill, you have
me.
two things you can assign. Do you want to fire the engine with one of them?
Sure. That's what you want, Commander. I'll fire the engine.
Again, if we're going to fire the engine, we have to charge the batteries this turn. Or at the very least, we need to, instead of charge the batteries, we need to assign to the metals, spending one battery to fire the engine.
Which metal do you want, the battery or the engine? Commander, which metal are we attempting?
Sorry, metal?
Foam metal.
Oh, foam metal.
Battery.
Oh, slenderizing.
Battery.
All right.
Yeah, we can't slenderize the battery. We're not there. We only have one battery card.
For
Or we have
slenderizing.
0 battery cards.
So,
all I'm saying is if we're firing the engine, we have to either slenderize the engine or charge the batteries. Otherwise, we will be dead. And then we're stuck with the diamondoid tether to recharge the batteries.
What?
I knew someone was going to go to the war.
So
I was going to go to the wardens, but I figured it would just get reassigned anyways.
Yeah, we'll reassign him. We'll figure out where.
Is he going to take another stress for another mutiny?
I figured even if I went to this card over here. I figured if I succeed, I'll get in my second avatar. If I fail, I'll get 4 victory points from the augmentation anyways. And if somehow Peter gets the nugget, since I have the Wisp medallion, I can peek at it anyway. So I figured that's why I went to the Neogen avatar card. All right, so for purple, I'm gonna decamp.
And go here.
Okay, slenderize. So, do we need to reassign this person?
We have one more avatar still.
Yeah, we still got one more.
Yeah,
it would be nice to still charge the batteries because I went to decant as well. Whether that's a reassignment or whatever, but
yeah,
I say that guy in the wardens should be charging the battery instead.
No. You have too much guys, so you should do the dirty works.
Phil has been doing some dirty work already. I'm listening to freedom.
Okay, so then he can protest if he wants. So if you want to protest, Peter?
No.
I mean, Phil, you did your assignment? Oh, okay. You also went to the...
Yes, to the eddy break.
All right, he's not protesting, so do you want to move him to the battery?
Yep.
Move him to the battery.
Okay.
To
So
the
it's-
latrine, and then to the latrines.
It's not actually easy to pick up those nuggets, I'm noticing. Because you can easily be commandeered around.
Yes, with certain commanders.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, if Peter had some leverage, negotiation leverage, something to offer me or to blackmail me with, then he might have a chance at that nugget. But right now it just looks like, oh, are we going to let this guy pick up 4 VP and not help us when we can also send him somewhere else? It's like a no-brainer.
So, Commander, I just wanted to mention I was very busy this term, but the youngest person on the ship is going to get to like age 50 or something.
Yep.
And that's probably our last chance for pregnancy, I guess.
Is that so?
I think so.
There are still some Amazons in the...
Oh, we could take out some embryos. That's true.
Yep.
You're right.
So this doesn't seem like the most... Yeah, I like this better. Also because we have this, and I just want to see what the I just want to do a ridiculous risk on those troglodytes there.
Right. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know who's going to go down on this pod, but it'll be interesting. There'll be heroes anyway. If the pod goes, I mean.
Yeah, we'll see. So are we there for the cell rolls?
I think we do cell rolls. Yes.
So I think Justin, you can go first if you want, or I should
on
roll.
the Neogen. Yeah, go ahead and roll the Neogen avatar.
That's kind of a selfish role, by the way. A selfish assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I got 4 victory points out of it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's
yeah, no, I explained my whole reasoning for it. I mean,
yes, I know you did.
I could have also assigned this person to the maintenance cell.
Yes.
Wondering what kind of things people could offer me to prevent such reassignments.
Well, I don't know, but let's see this roll.
Okay, we're not there.
Close. Not even goo.
Nope.
So Phil gets an augmentation.
Green augmentation.
Yep, I just gave it to you.
All right.
Okay. Engine. So first we do the engine.
Yeah.
You probably want to slenderize first.
Oh, but the engine always goes first, right? Or does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the engine cell, I think, always goes first.
Okay, so we slenderize.
Right, Phil?
Oh, right now it says ignition goes first.
Oh. Okay.
So we go up.
Should it be rewritten somehow?
Speed 3.
I think maybe the engine cell, but when it's flipped over, could cause an issue because then the radio signal could go first. But the nice thing about the engine cell going first is that
I know that you can
slenderize it.
Yeah. So how do we do this?
No, we fire the engine.
Okay, we fire the engine. We go up to 3 speed.
All right. And the fuel
Tell
goes
me,
down.
Tell me again why we went down to 2 speed.
Yes, I don't know.
We wasted two. Steps.
Because the bad commander.
Well,
okay. So go down
Right.
1 step in fuel, please. I
If
think
Pachanga
you have to-
I think he did.
we would
Oh,
have
did
done
you?
we would have done the Goldilocks thing there.
And the stress
So
for
now we have to charge the battery.
Yep.
did you
Hey,
get
but-
did you get the stress for Finalization?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I should take a
Everybody
stress
gains stress.
Oh,
test.
okay. Took stress.
So, but this is slenderized now, right?
No, we have to. Well, we can, yeah.
By the way, are we decanting the pilot anytime soon?
Maybe.
I wonder. We will see. Depends.
I think green
I
can
think it
put
was.
a shield up in front
Yeah, it
if
was.
they want.
Yep. Peter, do you want your shield up front?
No, shield. Yes.
Okay. All right. Charge the batteries, Commander.
Charge the batteries. Okay, so that goes up to 6. That's how it works, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's
And
how
then
it works, that you enslaved the yellow avatar to do this.
Should I roll?
and then
this,
I'll
or-
roll for purple roll.
Okay.
2 is freedom, but freedom already has an Amazon. Or does it matter? I think only the awake or only the ones, right?
Yeah.
Another 2. So
Keep rolling. Jesus.
No babies.
No, he's already come.
6. There you go. There's the pilot.
All right.
No,
All
it's
right.
not.
So green
not-
can take communist out.
And
That's not the pilot.
and the 1 battery minus.
Yeah, I would have loved the pilot.
Hey, move it.
I'm gonna keep decanting until I get the pilot.
What is this wisdom?
He's worth more to me awake.
What does this wisdom ability mean?
You can assign him to a tableau card and move
Alright.
into any. It says assigning him to a tableau card may move into any empty slot.
Oh, that tableau card may move into any empty spot.
Yeah.
Right. So he
Yes.
gets to redistribute tableau cards. That's why
Yes.
he's doing this. Okay.
You can steal them.
Or give them to the poor.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I get it.
All right. So we're done with cell rolls and maintenance. So let's move the starship 3 spaces.
All right, Commander. The rules state when you move onto a system like this, you get to flip over all the chits in that system.
Oh, okay. That's
So
cool.
we need 2 blues.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Well, that one's no good because the symbols have to match here. But this one is a troglodyte because it has a matching symbol.
Oh, there is. Okay.
So the goose strategy might work after all.
Right. But
Shall we?
yeah, I mean, we
just
can fire off. We can fire off another push rope. I mean, on our next turn.
What? Another push rope?
Yeah,
Yeah, because you just have to be within
4
You
spaces.
just have to be within 4 spaces. I mean, you could do it for the next 2 turns if you wanted.
Yes.
That's for sure. However, is anybody going to live there?
Yeah, it's we've got a habitable troglodyte. I'm sure there'll be no shortage of volunteers when we've heard that the alternative is an ice break at Procyon with a pilot that's not even born yet.
Sure.
So, Sam, I think your question is this: is it still habitable based on the required goo? But because it's a troglodyte, the goo is no longer necessary.
Yeah.
It's like a secondary habit, and it's not clear on the chits that that's how it works, but it will be. I just haven't remade the chits yet.
Perfect.
So there's actually 3 planets here. 3 planets or 3 worlds. One is a Goldilocks world, but it needs an awful lot of goo, and it only has 1 drop of hydration, so it's a desert planet. It's very poor.
This hydration on this chit here, because it's next to this Goldilocks chit, means that this hydration goes with this.
Okay.
So the hydration on this chit is actually separate from the troglodyte habitability. It's just not clear on the chit. I need to fix that.
Yeah, and then we've also got a white dwarf to the far right, but because there's not a white dwarf icon on that shit, that world doesn't exist. So that's out. But the middle one has shows that gas giant does have a moon. The moon is habitable. However, I think the rules state that you need all troglodyte worlds need 1 domesticated goo in order for the right stuff to land. So otherwise, if you don't got that, there's only a 1 in 6 chance of survival. So really, we still need I forgot about this. And I think it's 1 domesticated goo for all, or is it 2? If you've got the I8 I8B maybe.
It says needs 2 different species of goo augmentation.
So it's 2, not 1.
Yeah, I think it could be 1 though, because it's already only a 3-ish chance of succeeding to get a troglodyte. To have also 2 species of goo makes that very difficult. And if that's the case, why even bother with the troglodyte rules when generally the hardest Goldilocks to get is having 2 domesticated goo anyways. So I think maybe like the having it be 1 makes sense because the odds are already not in your favor anyways.
Yeah, and I think troglodytes have your victory points too.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 I think that have. There's only 2 troglodytes that have. Actually, there's none. There's 2 blue chits that have the magnifying glass, but they're not considered troglodytes. They're actually, sorry, it's 3. It's the Siren Civilization, the Iron Rain Nugget, and the Diamond Core Nugget, which I don't believe are considered troglodytes because it's not labeled as such.
No, they're just discoveries.
So either way, we would need 1. I mean, whether for this combination or for this, we would need 1 domesticated goo.
We need 1 domesticated goo if we're changing it to 1. Additionally, we need 1 step of fuel in order to hydrate that Goldilocks. So our troglodyte's still our best shot, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can also, whatever the required goo number is, Phil, I can make a note here to make sure that gets added to the chit.
We can try one domesticated goo.
Now, I think we did discuss potentially each different type of troglodyte moon requires a different type of goo, but that might be too hard.
Yeah, you'd need a table to look this up or something. I think I want to standardize the troglodytes. It's already kind of convoluted, everything.
Yeah. Okay. So I made that note.
All right.
And then you said there's still a 1 in 6 chance, even if we don't get the domesticated goo, there's a 1 in 6 chance that we don't need it. How is that?
It just says that if you've got a bailout and the Adam and Eve land without the right stuff, they might be good enough to survive anyway, but it's only a 1. You roll 1 die, and if you roll 1, they succeed.
Okay. We don't have a work cell card that says it counts as domesticated goo for that turn or anything, right? I don't think we do.
No.
Okay.
There is one for a nugget that counts as a nugget.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty important because in situations like this, we only have access to 1 nugget, especially if we were only going to Sirius, and it sort of blocks out, if we don't get that card, it sort of blocks out all of the foolhardy experiments. So that was pretty important. I haven't seen it come up yet, though. It must be in one of the decks that we haven't been cycling very much.
Mm-hmm. This has bearing on my proposed ML change that I've been sort of thinking of trying to implement next time. Okay. We've moved to Starship. We did our exploration, so I guess we go for attrition.
I don't see that that work cell card on the spreadsheet anymore about gaining or a nugget in the cosmos.
Gaining a nugget.
Do you know if you got rid of it from when? Yeah, remember we had one where like it added one to the bow or something like that from not an LIC. There was something. I wonder if it got, because you did a card update. I wonder if it got removed.
I don't quite remember this one.
Well, I was just saying, because I was saying it probably is kind of important to have a card like that, because in situations like this, we only have really access to 1 nugget for probably the whole game, and it kind of renders all of the foolhardy experiment cards useless, take up a bunch of space in the market.
I'll unveil my proposal here.
Okay.
If I can explain it. So instead of making the ML a variant, I want to have this as a possible result of a foolhardy experiment with only 1 nugget available. Okay?
Okay.
So if you only have 1, you can still do a foolhardy experiment, and foolhardy experiments are able to be claimed with only 1 nugget. But if you reveal an X for that 1 nugget, then we've got what's called a HAL result, HAL 9000. And this would say that the ML variant takes place. In a HAL world, then it's not a variant at the start of the game. It's a possible outcome of a 1 nugget experiment. That's the long and short of it.
Okay. Can I propose that it's the opposite and have it be the game starts in a machine learning process, and with this 1 nugget foolhardy experiment, it flips it?
I prefer it this way.
Yeah. Okay. The only reason I suggest it the other way is because start of the game, there's going to be more avatars than there are humans, and this is going to be less useful if it happens later in the game because there's going to be less. Now, that might be okay because the idea would be you just need to get as many augmentations early game as you can, but it'll be a lot harder to get augmentations in the game if it's flipped and there's less avatars.
Yes, understood.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're done with phase 5. So we can go on to attrition and aging. So does anyone roll for attrition? Doesn't look like it.
No.
So everybody ages.
All right.
So I think for me, I should probably not take too much time anymore because I need to go get dinner.
Okay.
Okay.
So I might not see the end of this game, I think.
Okay. Or we could pack it up and wait, but what do you think, Justin?
So it's almost noon here. I really only have about another, call it quits because my wife's got to work tonight, and so I gotta, got the kids. So we could play, I don't know, maybe another turn.
Yeah,
and
let's
just
do
kinda
another
discuss.
turn and hope that this. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
If we're trying to get a goo outbreak so that we can make a seed landing on Sirius, since the commander decided not to stop, then
Yeah.
Sam,
Sam, are you good with another turn before you go?
One turn. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, let's do that. And then, I mean, we at least got some good data out of the game, so that's always the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's finish the refresh here. So no, actually, yes, you guys are arch enemies, green and white.
Yeah.
Very much like
red and white are
board of that break pod, obviously. But I now need
red
to
and
go.
white. Red and white are married. If you guys want to, stress between you.
Thing. I would have very much liked to be on board of that break pod, but I don't think I'm going to make it. Probably next turn.
Do you want to remove the stress honor?
Yeah. And
Go ahead if you want. I don't know if you're the one who's creating this goo outbreak.
I think
you can do that before you die.
I will take this. So after she dies, how does the new commander get chosen?
Election.
Right. Okay. Immediate election.
Yes.
So you can lose the stress by this Neosphere count.
It is. If you go to the new sphere cult and you pick a new commander, then the old one gets stress relief.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so
yeah, you lose all stress.
So if you lose all stress, then we could get a few more years out of you.
Yep.
Of goo fighting, which we really need. So someone should go to the New Sphere cult, wherever this is.
Mm-hmm.
I will keep the stress. Phil, you can reduce stress if you want.
Oh. Well, yeah, I do want.
And then somebody can indeed go and try to claim the commandership. And
yes, the thing is, it might not work. I don't know if anyone's got the right color for this. Where is this cult?
It's color brown. Nobody has a brown augment.
Yeah.
So it's not
There are not
exactly.
many people I mean, we would have 2 people who could try at all.
But I do really, really want to see that goo whisperer stay alive. So yeah, I'd be willing to go for it.
Yeah, it's also possible that multiple people go there. Well, we'll see what happens. It's interesting. Yeah. So we go to assignment. Let's assign.
Okay,
so,
let's assign.
So I have a question. So right now, my dynasty and my coalition dynasty have no cyborg awake. So if I decant, and am I correct to assume that based on everyone else has a cyborg, if either my coalition or my actual dynasty gain a cyborg, then I don't lose control of my coalition? Or do I? Maybe I think maybe if I get a cyborg to individuality, which is my actual dynasty, I think I would maybe lose it only because unity is
state that you lose control of it if both your dynasty and the client dynasty have a cyborg. If you get a cyborg for one of them, you still don't lose it because
that's true. Okay. Yeah, because I don't have a monopoly.
Go for it.
Okay. That's fine. All right, I'm gonna decant then.
Okay, Phil.
Actually, hang on. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go here.
Okay, that's 2 there. I'm going to try to muck up some goo somewhere. So what would be a nice thing to do at the moment? Maybe send a radio signal.
Signal would be a very good idea.
Or try this after all. Grab the second avatar. See what that might do. Maybe next turn. Wonder if.
Yeah.
Not that likely actually to help me. So.
And really, that's where I would have gone, but I know we're not. If we were continually playing after this turn, I probably would have gone to the Neogen Avatar. But since we're going to probably just end the game after this, I went to the New Spherical.
Okay. Let's go there.
Go in.
Yeah.
Up to me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to figure out we don't really want this push rope or pod to fly, I take it.
Not right now, because there is no domesticated goo.
So it'd be a suicide run.
You could launch it if you want.
Yes, I know. And then the commander would call for volunteers, and the thing is, it could be.
It's like it's like a tiny chance of succeeding. So why not?
Yeah, why not? We're gonna see. If we launched it, we'd get to see the result before we end the game.
Yeah.
The deal is the rules right now are strange. They award you a lot of victory points for even making the attempt, even if they don't live.
Yeah, but
So,
you
I
need engines ignited.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I see your point, Phil. But if they die, you're losing the potential for 6 victory points anyway. So you're basically just getting those back, which is fine.
Yeah, don't do it. I will assign somebody to the engine.
What? Are you sure about this?
Yeah, sure.
This
am.
sounds insane.
It's a nice last turn thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing.
Okay,
This commander is murderous.
Absolutely. So we're going to Phil. You're going to charge the engine. Oh, by the way, I'm also going to.
I didn't realize I would be going to the engine. I didn't want to do that. Can't you assign Gray to the engine? Please.
Going to go to the battery.
We're married, by the way, so yeah.
You can protest.
I don't want to protest
true.
against my own spouse.
I could protest because I don't like him moving me.
Well, if you don't go to maintenance.
Well, but the thing is that assigning to the New Sphere cult was all done to save your life.
Yeah, but we. This is the last turn now.
It's the last turn. Okay. All right.
Because I was really hoping for an augmentation up there.
Yes, I know you
I
were.
really want to be scrubbing the batteries here, so I think I'm going to protest.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I'm going to protest. Let's make this quick.
Okay, who are you going to vote for?
So green has 1. So go ahead and vote green. Purple has 4. Yellow has 3.
I think red has 3.
Peter, who are you going to vote for?
Peter?
Okay, in that
For
case,
green.
this is still on here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I get a stress regardless of whether I win this mutiny or not, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
So I'll give
Peter.
myself that.
Oh wait, yeah. Peter,
Right.
who are you voting for? Because we start in green, right? So green votes for green. Okay.
So it's going to be either green, white, or red. I'm going to vote for Phil. I want Phil to fail this mission. I want Phil to be the commander of this ship going down.
I don't want to be remembered for this.
Yeah, yellow.
Yellow. Me.
Anyone who wants to vote for me, vote for honor instead.
Well, I could. I mean, yeah, that would be 4. I mean, Phil, if you vote for me,
yes, I will.
I think we're there. Otherwise, I would vote for you.
What? No.
Well, not necessarily, right? Because if Phil votes for you, you're only going to have 5, and all I have to do is vote for Phil, and he'll have 6.
Right. Because Phil is at 3, not at 4. Because I'm.
No. This is Purple's vote for Phil right here. So this is Phil's vote right here.
Oh, I see. So Phil,
Yeah.
Okay. I think. Well, Phil, it looks like maybe you should do it. I don't know, or you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'll vote for you. There we go.
Okay. So we've got a freedom commander, someone who can't order anyone to do anything.
Yeah. Nobody is firing the battery, so this is a fun thing. Because it does mean, so yeah, it prevents my my play for the nugget.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, because you wouldn't be able to go there. So where was that?
Battery is at 5, so it's fine. No, I did assign myself there. So.
Oh, I thought you moved there due to regulation. Didn't you assign this somewhere else, and then the last move you said, okay, regulation.
Well, this is a good question because I did various reassignments under regulations, but when do the mutinies happen and what do they prevent, right?
Yeah, that is a good question.
Also, I thought
I would think that.
I think there should have been no problem at all. I shouldn't have assigned you to the maintenance cell.
Yeah, I was wondering why you did. I thought you just maybe didn't want why you assigned me there. So Phil, he has a good question. So he did a couple different regulation moves, all under the pawn reassignment regulation, and I protested him moving me. But am I protesting him moving me or the entire regulation? Because the question remains. I mean, obviously, since he lost, I moved my guy back to my original assignment. But should he also be moving back all of the other assignments he moved during that same regulation?
I don't think
Probably.
so. I don't think he should.
Okay. Because
now the rules state that the new commander is allowed to do their own regulations without fear of mutiny for the rest of their turn. So they could reassign them, assuming they've got that regulation in their belt, all they want. But I think it's only the guy who protests that gets bounced.
Because I could also, like, even without him moving me to the batteries, if I see he moves his own dice from a work cell to the warden to collect the nugget, I could protest that because that's a regulation that allowed him to do that.
Oh yeah, that's
true. It doesn't matter that my dice is not involved. So then it should be the entire regulation, not a single act.
I think it's only the guy who protests. I think.
But yeah, what I'm saying is like.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Even without my.
You're saying that you want to be able to protest somebody else's move, even though that person who's gotten moved is perfectly fine, but you want to protest it anyway.
No. Well, not necessarily. I mean, that's lumped into it. What I'm saying is, I want to protest him taking the nugget as well. And what you're saying is, I can't do that because it doesn't involve my dice. Yes. Even though it's still a regulation that he's doing it, which I'm supposed to be able to mutiny. Because his white dice was on a card, and then he, in step 2, took it off a card and placed it here to prospect a nugget.
I don't think I'm going to be able to support that, even if I wanted to, because I don't think people will be able to track all these undoings of moves.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it should be move by move, essentially.
Yeah, right. I think.
Well, so. It needs to be clear then, because it says the commander may change assignments per the regulations, and then if a dynasty protests, it suffers a stress and initiates an election. So if I protested this, what you're saying is I would have had to protest just this one move alone rather than the entire regulation.
I think you can only protest one move. Now, whether or not that involves your dice or not is a different question. Maybe it doesn't have to, but
it just gets a little confusing because you're supposed to be able to protest the regulation, not like the dice placement, if that makes sense. It would need to be. I mean, I see what you're trying to say here. Maybe be clear or reworded somehow because it's not very clear right now.
Yes, I understand. I've written this down.
Okay.
I think it should be against all movements, and they should be undone.
Because I mean, what other scenarios could this happen? So let's see. It could be unfit for duty. This could happen. He could deem 2 people unfit for duty, but if a mutiny occurs, then only 1 person gets to come back. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so if you want to think about it a little bit more, Phil, play it as is right now. My opinion is that it should be that entire regulation, because I feel like that's not that hard to track, and it makes everything a lot more clear. But I'll leave you to think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
So where were we? We were into cell roles now, I think.
But it also means that you have to be clear about the order of regulations, or maybe it's the entire regulation phase. So the commander makes a proposal. Everybody says, "Okay, I'm going to mutiny or not."
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of assume that since the thing is, like, you're not the commander anymore, so that's why I think that it should be all regulations, because how are you still able to do this if you're not the commander? I mean, the ship has mutinied against your actions, and you have no authority anymore, so how are you still able to do that? That doesn't make sense to me. That's the reason why I asked this question.
Okay.
Because now Phil is the commander, but yet he's still able to collect the nugget. That doesn't really work.
This thing too, because I think I reassigned that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. So I mean, we can play it as is, right?
Realized just in that.
He was on the new sphere before, so
right. Mm-hmm. But I also realized that it was simply an error to assign you to the maintenance cell.
Yeah, I know. And I also think that the protesting of the mutiny, it also makes the mutiny election way more interesting when you're talking all regulations, because it gives everyone an extra thought process of like, okay, well, this is going to change this a lot of things, so now I need to really think who to vote for. Whereas they might not really care if it's just my dice that's going to get moved.
It's like the commander is actually proposing a policy, so to speak, and you kind of vote on it. And so that automatically introduces a very clear level of politics into the game, I think, which would be good and more better articulated in a way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't even make sense to have it be just the pawn regulation. Again, it should be all regulations, because you lost the commandership. I mean, that's the big key here, is that you're no longer the commander. So all of your regulations for the rest of this round should be void.
Is that if you have a turn order thing in which the commander first proposes the entire regulation, and then there is basically a vote on that, people can say, no, this is not good.
Yeah, that's true. The commander could just say, all right, well, here's my phase. I plan to move this dice here, this dice here, this dice here. Are there any protests? And if it's no, then he moves all the dice. If it's yes, then you don't move anything until the mutiny happens.
And I think it would be clear, and it would also introduce an interesting moment of potential negotiations, which would be very, very focused.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good for the game.
Phil, you're awfully quiet over there.
Well, I'm thinking. I'm trying. It's for one thing, somebody's, even if everybody wants to protest, somebody's got to agree to actually take the stress.
That's true.
Which is fine, I think, but that's part of the negotiation process, right? If 3 people disagree with what's going on, they could just negotiate, like, all right, I'll do it because I have the amount of stress, or I have the most to lose, or whatever. That's
true. All right, but let's get going, because I don't think we've got much more time. We're supposed to spend a short election here, but it is valuable.
Okay, so it's your call, Phil. What do you want to roll? You're the commander. You're the commander of this sinking ship.
I never voted for myself in this thing. There's no more regulations. Let's do cell rolls.
All right. So what do you want to do first?
Let's try.
You could do New Sphere to try and lose the commandership.
That's a funny one.
Okay. No.
Go ahead and roll it.
Where I don't know where New Sphere is. Oh, there.
It's on yours.
Yeah, I'll roll this.
All right. Non-augmented.
Well, there
Oh,
you
come
go.
on. I was trying to get victory points here.
Who you want?
All right.
So you're the commander now?
I have to choose. No, I have to choose who becomes the commander. Remember, I don't have a side.
Yes, that's true.
The card got renamed, or the ability got changed. So I could technically give it right back to Sam, but I think I'm gonna give it to Peter.
So, in other words, you're not the Messiah, you're John the Baptist.
Yeah, but the good thing is you lose all stress, Phil.
Oh. So that commandership was helpful somehow.
Yes.
All right. I'm not the commander any longer, but I suggest that we roll for this Neogen avatar. If that's okay with you, I'm going to try to roll it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
success on yellow.
At least something.
And green gets a stress, so I'll give you a stress green, and then yellow gets its avatar.
Yeah.
And green gets a stress. Okay.
All right, let Phil roll this pod.
Yes, I want to see this pod.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
I am augmented, by the way. No.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Too bad. I like the idea so much of those pods.
Yeah.
I mean, last game it worked.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, moving on. Maintenance. So probably we have to fire the engines first. So we're going to slow down, I guess.
Well,
or speed up.
Peter decides.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could slow. Can we stop here?
Right.
We could get to speed 1.
Yeah. We can't really stop here.
Because we're here right now.
I think we should continue.
I think we should speed up to speed 4 and dive directly into the star. That's my.
But you went to star break.
No, I want to burn up in the star as well.
That's what I said. Star break. You have to put a political spin to this.
Yeah,
But
let's
this
speed
is a
up.
good question. Do you want to speed up? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, the reason. So if we were continuing the game, speeding up would actually be a pretty decent idea because there's a couple cards out here that could. So one is where's that foolhardy? There's, or maybe it wasn't a foolhardy card. There was a card that allowed us to slow down 3 steps. I thought it was a foolhardy experiment. I don't see it up here anymore.
Oh, great! You're the chief engineer.
Oh, right here. Yeah, Goo Architecture. Right here. So this one says change Exodus speed by up to 3 steps. So we could do that if we were continuing on. So, of course, we would need another nugget unless we adopt Phil's new HAL rules.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we did that. We dropped. We'll drop the battery. So are we going to decant or are we going to prospect next, Commander?
Prospect.
Okay. So that drops it to 2. And
I can look.
I'm still controlling purple, so I have the Wisp medallion that allows me to peek at others' nuggets anytime. So I'm going to take a peek.
I can look at the nugget, right?
Yes.
Correct? Yes, you can.
Ooh.
Okay. And then, so that dropped it by 2, and then now we're going to decant, which drops the battery by 1. So we're actually out of that, which is really bad. I'm going to roll this for decant. 2, I'm going to roll again. 5 is
Party, I think. No, wait. Yep.
You mean the pilot's
Yeah, so
still not out? God, the
All right.
kid's only 3 minutes old and already I hate him.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving 4 spaces, so I'm assuming we would Procyon, but maybe the commander wants to go to Kaid instead. So I guess we could probably just end here.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think we
yes.
should.
So real quick, Phil, I want to, after I have a couple minutes, I have to ask you a few questions about Essen, if you could stay on. But otherwise, let's, is there any final parting notes about the game? I think we got some really good data.
I'd like to count points, please.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have
Sure.
these nuggets, right?
Yeah, we should flip over the nuggets to see what they look like.
Cool.
X is the reality. All right.
Well, I'm happy about that.
We can do this very quickly. All right, let me know when you're ready, Phil. We can start on player gray here. Let's go around the table.
Yes. So just a second. Cyborg metals. Augmentation. And what else is there?
Cards. Work cell cards.
Work cells. Okay, so player gray, what do you got in the way of cyborgs?
I have 1 dead and 1 in the jar, so 4 VP.
And medallions?
0.
Augmentation?
1 augmentation, so 4 points.
And work cells?
For an X reality, I have 4 points.
All right. Player purple. That was player green, right? No, that's gray. Okay, player purple.
Purple. So 1 awake cyborg and 1 in the jar, 10 points.
Yes. Medallions.
2, so that's 8 points.
Augmentations.
1, so that's 4 points.
Work cells.
1 point.
Okay.
No nuggets, no goo.
No nuggets, no goo. Yeah, there is a nugget out, so I have to remember to ask about that. So that's 23.
Okay, so purple has 23. What was gray had?
12, I think. Player yellow, what's cyborgs?
It's 8.
And medallions.
Nothing.
Augmentation.
8.
You got nuggets?
No.
Work cell.
No. 0.
All right, so that's 16. White, player white, cyborgs.
10.
Medallion.
None.
Augmentation.
4.
Work cell.
3.
Any nuggets?
Yes, 1. So that's 4 points.
All right, so that's 21.
For the cyborgs, right? Not 8.
8 for the cyborgs, right?
10, I think. Because,
Oh, what was it? 10 for the cyborgs.
yeah.
Yes. 10
So-
plus 4 plus 4 plus 3.
Yeah. 21.
Okay. So player red, that's me. What do I got for cyborgs?
One in the jars and one alive, so you have 10.
Medallions, I think I got 1.
1.
Augmentation, I think I got 1.
Yep, so 4 there, no nuggets.
Cells.
Work cells, you got 5.
All right.
23.
Yeah, that's tied. Player green, cyborgs.
6.
Medallions.
Nothing.
Augmentation.
Nothing.
Work cells.
Nothing.
Okay. So that's 6 points.
So again,
and-
we have a tie.
Yeah, so player green was a coalition, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So was purple.
Purple is also coalition. Now, how did player purple, a coalition, do so well?
Well, the medallion certainly helped. I think that was the big key there. I was sort of, I don't know. I was kind of, for some reason, I was kind of loading up. I was using their avatar because I had an avatar for them, right? And my actual dynasty had a cyborg, so I was trying to gain some augmentations with the avatar, but I only really got 1. And then I was starting to use that avatar for blueprints, so I got the wisp, and I got the slenderizing the ship to gain the shield, which eventually got rotated away. Basically, I went with an augmentation / blueprint strategy there, and it won based on that.
Right. Well, thank you very much. Does anyone else want to say something?
I have some comments.
Yes.
I think I like more the normal game where having cyborg has higher odds and higher rewards for having them awake.
Yeah, I kind of like it too. Okay. What else?
I think the augmentation should have full color cheats because
okay.
mainly on the cards it is not seen what the color is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we changed these colors to be different than the player colors, and what's hard is like Ion likes to use colorblind friendly colors. I don't think it's as necessary for these cards because they also have names in the bottom corner.
I don't think it's necessary at all.
Some of these colors are from the Ion friendly palette, but you also want to make them different than
and the colors
they have to be
colors of the brown and yellow and blue.
So it has to be different. So like the yellow is a playmat color, so this is technically orange, brown, this is jade, blue, and pink. It has to be colors that are different than what we name playmats. So
yeah.
Or we just get. I mean, the other option is we could just get rid of the colors altogether on the cards. I was kind of thinking of maybe even doing like silver, gold, bronze, white, and black. But I don't know how colorblind friendly that is. But we could just get rid of the colors altogether and just. But you would then we'd have to go back to having. In the past, we had not only the requires, but the contributes.
It's hard because we've got the goo and the cards. Another thing is that I renamed everything in the rules based on these colors, but you didn't use the same. You didn't assign them the same way. I think jars was supposed to be pink, and the wardens were supposed to be brown.
Okay, I can change it. I didn't know there was a specific order. I just thought
few more things. I think it will be nice.
Go ahead.
On the back of the work cells, it should say Wardens, batteries, or something like that.
Yeah, it will. Yes. I just haven't done that. I haven't done that for the prototypes because I knew a lot of the stuff would change. So.
Yeah.
The jars.
We do need to do that.
Jars can be according to the numbers.
What do you mean?
That number 1 is here, number 2 is here, maybe.
Oh,
You mean
yeah.
for the
It
sideboard?
is on the
Do you mean for the sideboard?
for how you decant? Is that what you're saying?
No, with it is similar with the numbers of the dynasties. So,
Yeah, for decanting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking this placard might need to be a little bit bigger because it'd be nice to be able to display the sideboard placards a little bit so you can see if there's one underneath it or not. But it would make it bigger, which takes table space. So,
but I think splaying them is a valuable asset on this because stacked is hard. I think I think the box's size is pretty big. I think we could get them bigger.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, we spent 4 hours to get to the first star and not exploring much of the space.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a valid concern.
Yes.
And
Especially these stupid mutinies.
Yes, small suggestion on each star. There can be like an arrow telling how many steps it's to the next stars.
Okay.
Like a little like a signpost.
Like a Sirius
that might be helpful.
is 20 steps and thickness is 30.
Yeah.
It can be a bit
I was
hard.
thinking, I was thinking just another easy count spaces would be like every 5 spaces have like a little tick mark, and then you can just count like, okay, 1, 2, and then 7, 12, 17, 18, 19, boom, you're there. But however Phil wants to manage that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the mutinies is not working so well for me.
I'm sorry, what's
Mutiny?
not working? Oh, mutiny.
Yes, I wanted to get the nugget from the wardens.
From the bows, sure. We all wanted this.
So the thing here is, it is about. I think it's about negotiations and leverage and what can you offer, because it was pretty easy for me to just say, no, you're going to do something that we all agree on, and then you are only one, and there are 3 other people who are saying, yeah, of course Peter shouldn't go and pick up that nugget. But the problem here is, what can you offer? And this is a bit hard, I think, in the game sometimes. You don't always have the leverage to do negotiations.
Yes.
And so the more that can be maximized, the better it is, I think, for the game.
Yeah. Now we've seen the Rumpelstiltskin deals, but that's pretty specialized. At one point we had that you could negotiate stress, but I didn't like it, so I took it out.
Yeah.
So I have a bit different proposal for the mutiny. So if you mutiny, you do not take stress immediately, but you make elections, and only if the commander stays, you get 2 stress, maybe 3.
Yeah, it's also a possibility.
So it becomes more risky to mutiny, is what you're saying?
Yes.
What do you think, Phil?
I think this whole proposal is to make it so there's fewer mutinies, or it's harder to mutiny, so we don't have so many of these things to slow the game down. That's the idea. True?
Maybe I am.
Maybe. Okay. So what is your